Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Close call. I get one of those a month, maybe once every other month, Tom, that I have a close call when I'm running in here. Not arriving, but getting sidetracked, having a conversation about something. And Tom's methodology to alert me to the fact that we have a radio show to do here locally is to just crank the opening music as loud as he can, so wherever I am in the building I can hear, hey, you're on the air there, Slick. And I come racing in, heartbeat fluttering. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. But if you do miss something, we'll post all 3 hours, both to iTunes and in our own audio vault. That's a good thing. Think it's coming back? Does it sound like it's coming back? Voice is getting there? Not so nasally?
No, I didn't notice anything wrong with it. I was wondering what you were saying is coming back.
I think we're getting there, right?
Something was up.
I can hear it. I'm my own worst critic, buddy. I can hear that nasally, annoying sort of. You know how you can hear it with yourself?
Oh, I'm nasally all the time.
Well, but I'm saying
all the time.
But if there's ever a problem, you hear it before anybody else would. That's the way I am here.
I swear, 3 or 4 years ago, I wasn't nasally. Now I just am all the time.
I don't notice it. I think you're less nasally than when you started, buddy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Than when you started. You were off the charts nasally in the beginning.
Oh, really?
You've kind of figured out that nice place.
Oh, okay.
Finding
well,
your voice.
You.
Yeah, see, that's what happens. Just like you couldn't notice, yeah.
Except for the Coach K, that
but
has
you
to be
do that well. You
over the top.
You can reach back and find your inner Coach K, because who doesn't want to find their inner Coach K?
Olympic gold medals. Several of them.
JCS at 979ESPNradio.com is the email address. Fire away with those. I'm a little behind. I'm going to have to talk to that a group of interns that we have and say, hey, what's going on with the emails? Is there anybody I need to respond to? Have I just completely overlooked a very important email? There's nothing? I'm getting a no over there? Okay, good. I'd rather not, so that's good. I like to hear that.
Nah, Matthew monitors the hell out of that thing.
At Jay Cameron Show is the Twitter feed and WTSM app good for either Android or iPhones. And we're on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. Type in ESPN Tallahassee. And what's going on with the Periscope? We good today?
So far, so good.
Right.
We got through about 90 minutes yesterday with the simultaneous
And then it
feeds.
just went, that's it. I'm done with it already.
It did.
How long are we going to broadcast this guy?
Yeah.
We have Periscoped ourselves out.
So we're off and running. Now
So
we'll see if we can do the whole 3-hour deal here.
We'll see.
Yep.
Not real sure.
Be patient.
I don't know if I have a lot of faith in it. We'll find out.
That's why we're not running any promos for it yet.
No, it's not a sold thing. It's not a big thing we've committed to. It's a matter of convenience and access and trying to help people and give them more means by which to check in with the program from time to time or catch up with it at the very least.
By the hundreds they check in on Twitter. They do.
On Twitter?
Yeah, yesterday we had around 900 viewers. There you go.
On the as we were doing the Periscope.
Just on the Twitter. Yeah, then you got the YouTube, then you got the stream and the podcast.
Wait till we start Facebooking.
Yeah.
And broadcasting from there, right?
That is eventually the plan, yes.
All right, we'll start doing all those things. So I wanted to bring something up right from the jump here that I thought was interesting. Do you know that a bevy of people, and it's odd that I ran into this many people, disparate as they were. These are people that did not know each other, but they're all Florida State fans and or alumni or supporters of some kind. And I ran into a wide-ranging, diverse group of people. So this was like an impromptu, accidental poll that is really balanced. I had men and women, young, old, black, white, you name it.
We at the gas station?
No, this was just, well, I did run into somebody at a gas station. That was one. I ran into somebody at a supermarket in town that I want to visit.
I was in the line at the bank today, and it was, it was just a demographic swath of America.
It's beautiful.
Everybody was there.
Well, those are the kinds of conversations you want to have because it gives you a diversity in viewpoints. And anyhow, with a commonality, right, with a thing that you can agree upon. So these are all people that agreed upon, their fandom, at the very least, of Florida State football. But I have found that yesterday's W's and L's, which is a favorite segment of so many people for so long, and it's really funny that it is because it's really nothing more than just, off the top of your head, very cursory, not much in the way of in-depth look at a schedule and the predictions that flow from it, W's and L's, in January, this far out from a football season.
I still feel good about that 31-21 number for opening night, though.
You're going to stick to that.
I'm going to stick to that,
The 10-point win for the Noles over Virginia Tech. And you like that pick more than my 63-7.
I would like your pick more in reality.
Yeah, but you think yours is more accurate.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You believe my 63-7 is a bit of a pie in the sky, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sticking with it. So, at least for now,
we'll be number 1 in week 2.
Yeah. Well, we should be. We're just going to expose the masses. They're going to go, what was going on? What was that previous coach doing? So here's the thing. Even if I'm somewhat tongue-in-cheek about that, the 10-2 is what the folks were taking issue with. That you and I both picked 10-2. And almost to a man, woman, child, old, young, you name it, I was told by these groups of people, whether it was the supermarket, whether it was at
the gas station.
I also ran into somebody. I had an appointment somewhere. Ran into somebody there. It's nothing big, but it was just an appointment. And so when I talk to these people, they're like, gosh, I hope you guys are right, but I heard it yesterday driving home, 10-2. What? The expectations I'm finding, Tom, a very, very small sample size, thinks that we're way too optimistic. They think that 8-4, 7-5 is more likely. And I said, listen, I would probably, if pressed on this thing, set the over-under at, 8.5. 8.5, 9. I think the War Chant guys did something. Bud sent me a text from Tomahawk, and I talked to somebody from Noles 247, and they were looking at 8.5, 9, somewhere in there for the over/under. So if it's 8.5, I'm going over. I'm saying 9. I'm saying 9-3. Worst case scenario in my mind. Now, again, you can never predict injuries and things of that ilk. So, we'll wait and see. It is just January the 18th. The season just ended. There's a lot to see and learn about. But do you think we were way off? Do you think that saying 10-2 is absurd for next year?
No. I can see where the back half of the schedule, obviously. It's brutal. You play Clemson, and then that NC State game is a trap game for Notre Dame right away, and we already have enough of a problem historically with NC State on the road as it is. And then Boston College is going to play you with physicality, and you catch Florida.
I'm not worried about Boston College.
Listen, I'm not worried about them in the 35-3 sense. I'm just looking at our past, handful of matchups with them. They always play us tough.
That's fine. If you can't handle Boston College, you're just not any good.
Even in 14, what did we put up, like 17 points?
Well, this is, again, a different conversation that I don't want to further beat a dead horse.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man, you shouldn't have too many problems with Boston College.
I'm not terribly worried about Florida, but if that's the end of a long stretch, 5 weeks in a row where you're playing, physical opponent after physical opponent.
And they're probably going to be playing better.
And they'll be the best version of themselves at that point because they've installed the new concepts with Mullen, so they're going to bring competence to the table.
Okay, but let's apply that same thing to what we're doing. The schedule allows for youthful inexperience within the system to grow up. I mean, that's what this schedule provides us. I think when you have a new coaching staff and perhaps different personnel on the field, and they are obviously now operating under a new system, both of beliefs and scheme, I got you, but you need a little time. Well, short of the first game of the year against Virginia Tech, which at least you get at home on a Monday night, that place is going to be rocking. You can't ask for anything more. That's not a road game. Short of that, the first 5 games where you're trying to grow up and learn and get accustomed to a new system and coaching staff and each other and the implementation of new concepts, this is a gift. This schedule, backloaded as it is, admittedly, has pitfalls. But name one that doesn't. You're in the ACC, first of all, so you have to – every year you got to play Clemson. There's no getting around that. If at any point – and we shouldn't be afraid of that. We should embrace that. And you're going to play Louisville every year, right?
Yeah.
So if at any point you set up that Clemson game and the Louisville game's near it, and then there's somebody from the other side that's any good at all, that's going to be the stretch where people go, "Oh, there's no team that can't avoid a stretch of games that are considered to be more difficult than others. I mean, that's what you're going to have.
Sure. I mean, substitute, for example, you play at Syracuse in week 3. I believe that's right. Substitute NC State on the road for that game. So you put Syracuse in that stretch, makes it a little bit easier.
Right.
But then NC State is in September in week 3. I mean, are we really changing our over-under win totals right there? I mean, put Miami earlier in the season, put it in the weekend of Syracuse, and move Syracuse to the other side. So now you're playing back-to-back road games before your bye week at Louisville, at Syracuse. Miami's week 3. Does that really change your feeling about wins and losses? I think no matter what you do with the schedule that we have this season, you're opening up with Virginia Tech. Week 1 always has a little bit less margin for error, especially when you're breaking in a brand new system. Mm-hmm. And that's your cross-division opponent. Then you're playing Notre Dame, and then you have an improved Miami team, Clemson. I mean, this isn't 4 or 5 years ago ACC football. So no matter what you do in this conference,
you're in a good conference, man. You're going to play some good teams. There's no way around it.
But I agree with you that the thing is front-loaded in a good way for us, because the way I see it is we should be 6-1 or better by the time we play Clemson. Holding everything else constant, injury luck, all that stuff. We should be 6-1 or better, because September lays out nicely. You play that first game, and then you have 3 weeks to tune up before you worry about that Louisville and Miami back-to-back.
If you say, Jeff, just be a little bit more realistic and less pie in the sky, then I'll tell you 9-3, not 8-4. Is 8-4 possible? Sure. I mean, you talk about, the margin of victory and the margin for error, and we talk about, what things happen in a football season with injuries and weird circumstances. I mean, you can never predict certain things, but I'll grant you that. But we're just talking about surface level analysis here. This isn't the week leading up to the big game breaking down matchups. This is surface level. Hey, the schedule just came out. What do you think? Well, what I think is that, first of all, I want to get back to something here. And I sound like I'm giving sort of a pep rally for Florida State fans and players and coaches and those that care about the program here a little bit. We're Florida State, man. We are not some marginal ass average ACC team. We are an elite program, and you got to start thinking like that again, and obviously playing like that again. And I think that's part of what we're going to see happen here in terms of, and this is true whenever a new coaching staff comes into play. We talk about the uptick, right, and the surge in quality play, and how you got to take advantage of that. The change is usually a buoying effect, right, for the fan base and the players, especially if it's change for a good reason. We just came off a season where we were, at one point struggling to find a third win late into the year. So people were ready for this change.
Yeah, okay. So a couple of things. First of all, when I read the War Chant Roundtable last night about the schedule, I was surprised to see
now, listen, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I saw that they did it. I didn't get a chance. I've been under the weather. I've been sleeping as much as I did not read this article yet. I don't know what those guys predict. They're all my friends, but I didn't see what they predicted just yet. But I did see that they did that.
One of the things was that the ACC didn't do Florida State any favors. I just disagree with that, because if you look at the big games this year, or games that you at least circle and say, well, we need to show up to be able to win.
Right.
Obviously, Virginia Tech's one of them. Miami's another one.
Yep.
Clemson, NC State, Notre Dame, Florida, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so that's 6. Now, you could say you're a little bit concerned about Boston College, given where it falls in the schedule, or Louisville.
I'm not concerned about Boston College at all.
The thing is that the Louisville-Miami back-to-back was one of the reasons. I get their back-to-back road games, but it's not Louisville with Lamar Jackson. And they were, what, a 4 or 5 loss team with Lamar Jackson.
I was just about to say, man, we should have beat Louisville here with Lamar Jackson, and we played terrible all year. If he doesn't fumble going in for the score, we win that game last year as discombobulated and messed up as we were.
Correct.
I'm not worried about Louisville either.
The place I agree with them is if you win Virginia Tech, now you are almost assured, if your health stays well, that you are going to be in a big-time position when you play Clemson in late October to have a statement game. At least the hype will be there, the energy will be there, and the actual chance to win the Atlantic will still be in play. You beat Virginia Tech, I don't think you're going worse than 6-1. You could paint a picture and say, all right, well, you slip up the first week, the system looks like it's not fully installed. Guys are a little bit confused, and Virginia Tech and Fuente know what they're doing, and Foster brought a lot of exotics.
You lose that game. Sure, you lose that game.
And then you go down and you lose to Miami, who should be improved in the sense that they should have more skill on offense and better quarterback play than they did a year ago. And it's on the road. Okay, So worst possible case, you're 5-2. I just don't see it though. I think you're more likely 6-1 at that point.
But even if you're 5-2, then you get Clemson. Okay, let's say let's chalk that up to a loss.
Yeah.
Okay, then chalk up Notre Dame for a loss if you want. If you are really really negative, you're really down, and you think that maybe not even really negative. Maybe you're kind of listen.
Well, then you're staring 8-4 in the face.
That's exactly what you're staring in the face as a worst case scenario. I'll give you that.
Sure.
Barring injury and things you can't predict, I'm saying you're saying 8-4 is probably worst case.
Okay, given that it's January, what you're saying is it could be argued to you, compellingly so,
yes,
that 9-3 or 10-2 are the most likely records in some order.
And the next closest is 8-4.
Over 11-1?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, by far.
All right.
Yes. 11-1 is nuts.
Now, I think those people who said we were being too positive, now they've gotten what they want to hear.
Well, and I'm not doing it for that reason. You're right.
I know that.
I'm just saying that, listen, I don't think you can discount the freeing effect, being unburdened by whatever was wrong in that locker room has. That's a big deal. Clearly, and I'm not even, and again, I get it. There is a faction of Florida State fans that are really pissed that Florida State and Jimbo Fisher had the falling out that they did. They're very upset to have lost Jimbo Fisher, and they think it's going to have a deleterious effect on Florida State football. Okay, without getting into that debate and that argument over and over again, let's just say they end up being right. What can't be discounted is that something was broken and there were problems in that locker room. That I know for a fact, having talked to players. I know this. We know this. It was evident when you watch them play. There's no other way to explain away some of the performances we saw this past year. There are very real problems that surfaced last year that were not Coach Fisher's fault. That's true, too. It's not his fault DeAndre Francois got hurt. And that had a huge impact on the season. I've never denied that impacted the season negatively.
Offensive line injuries, too.
Right. It's not all on Jimbo Fisher. It's not. But the problems that persisted in that locker room and the elements that they could control that were frequently a problem for Florida State, such as the timeout situations, about game management that was a problem, players not getting lined up, the things that drive us nuts, that when we watch other teams do it, we say, this is a poorly coached team. Those things existed, and that is on the coaching staff, and they have consisted that they've been that way for a long time. The special teams, goofs, gaffes, all that stuff, right? I think some of those things, again, were the byproduct of problems behind the scenes that are no longer going to be the burden they were, right? I think there's going to be a team that's free and easy. I think they're going to have a lot of fun. I think that's the direction that Florida State chose to go with the Willie Taggart hire, was that of more of a, without it being expressly written out or even necessarily strategized about behind closed doors. I think they thought Willie was the right candidate for a lot of reasons, and I tend to agree with them on almost all of them. But who Willie is, and the way he operates, and that he's young, and the staff that he's put together suggests to me this is a player-friendly coaching staff, and those guys are going to play that way.
Yeah.
I really think that goes a long way in getting the most out of their talents.
Well, Willie strikes me as somebody, and his history says that he's somebody who, if something's not working, he's going to change it. And that's something that just didn't exist here after Jimbo got his players in in the first place.
One of the best and worst things that happened for Jimbo Fisher with his offense was Jameis Winston. Jameis showed how incredible that offense can be if run properly all the time by a transcendent quarterback.
Right.
But it's true, when the right guy's pulling the trigger, it is unstoppable, and it does travel in a way that some other offenses, maybe even the one we're about to start running, don't. The problem is finding that piece, that guy to run it. And when you can't and you stick by it and that player doesn't have the same skill set, you've got problems.
I think if you're arguing for 10-2, the reason is the defense.
Oh,
what you can turn around with our athletes.
Let's talk about that for a second when we come back. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Neese Tire and Auto Service. Neese has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Neese Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Neese Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford. The place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You'll save when you get the rebate from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, and you'll save again on your utility bill, because it's a fact that Energy Star appliances use less energy than their non-Energy Star counterparts. So look for the Energy Star when you shop local for appliances this holiday season. Get all the Energy Star rebate details at talgov.com. Your own utilities. Click on products and services, and all will be revealed. 'Tis the season to save. Save energy and save money with the City of Tallahassee Utilities Energy Star rebate. You'll save with the rebate, and you save on your utility bill. Happy holidays from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, your own utilities, and America's #1 public utility.
Roberts Elementary School is proud to host the 9th annual Trent Trot in honor of Trent McElroy, a Roberts 4th grader who lost his battle to childhood cancer in 2013. All proceeds from the race go to the Trent's Touch Foundation, which support local families battling pediatric cancer. This race is a longtime community favorite and is being held at Roberts Elementary School on January 27, 2018. You can register online, go to Facebook, type in 2018 Trent Trot. Support this race and help a local child leave cancer in the dust.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You could do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car, yes sir.
Ah, the perfect lunch spot. A nearly impossible find. Thankfully for Tallahassee, we have Metro Deli. A downtown gem for over 15 years, Metro Deli is locally owned and features the best deli meats, cheeses, breads, and ingredients in the city. Enjoy daily specials and soups, salads and wraps. There's something for everyone. Metro Deli offers online ordering for pickup or delivery and will cater your office breakfast or lunch too. Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot is Metro Deli. MetroDeliTally.com. That's MetroDeliTally.com.
Running low on the stuff you need? Time for a Target run. We're here for all the big moments and the little ones too, like restock in the fridge. Get a free $5 gift card when you spend $15 on your go-tos, like Pepsi Soda or Gatorade. Or saving big, like up to 10% off big, when you use Cartwheel in the Target app on your favorite essential and beauty items. Find deals in-store like Tide Laundry Detergent or Tresemme Hair Care. Get low prices on thousands of items today and every day. Target run and done. Restrictions may apply.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. You know, last weekend, we were going into that weekend, and, you know, when you don't have a lot of games in the Redemption Thursday games to pick from, I don't know that I officially throw those out there on the Facebook and the like, but I did have the Titans getting points. That didn't work out. They got blown out. They were terrible.
I actually did take New England. I took the other side of that with our friend.
You did well with that. I took the Jags against the Steelers.
Wise.
And that worked out, too. I think I took both the underdogs. I think you're talking about good teams typically at this point. And listen, it's interesting. We'll get into this, but I'm stunned by the number for New England this weekend against Jacksonville. It's too rich for my blood. I'll take the Jags and the points. And I got a larger conversation to have about the Jags, which you and I can have, because it would involve perhaps Minnesota facing the Jags in the Super Bowl and what that might look like, and the old "be careful what you wish for" thing.
How do you feel about the price for Minnesota as it stands right now, -3 on the road at Philly?
I wouldn't bet the game in my personal life.
All right.
I like Minnesota to win the game. I'm not a Nick Foles guy, but I think both quarterbacks are going to struggle against those defenses. So it's not a game I would touch. I could see that being one of those games where it's 13-10 late, and so that's, to me, it's a low-scoring affair, and I'm not going to touch it.
Sunday's forecast for Philadelphia calls for nothing crazy in the way of wind or precipitation. It's a high of 50, actually.
No, it's going to be probably warmer there than it would be if they played the game in Florida.
At kickoff around 7 o'clock, it looks like it's going to be around 40 degrees, which is more than you could ever hope to ask for in the third week of January.
They'll be all very happy. All right, let's get back to Florida State for a second, because we'll get into the NFL. We got a good 3-hour show to do, so plenty of time. But I want to you talk about the defense, right? And basically where we're at with the defense. And you lose, obviously, Derek Nottie, and that is a problem. And, the idea that you lose a player of that ilk, you get nervous about. And we talk about the defense in general losing Sweat to the draft. And, I know we all kind of rolled our eyes at a couple of guys that have declared, but
I didn't like the Wilkerson move.
Well, I didn't like it because he was going to play significant reps.
He was going to stop the run.
He was going to fill a role.
And that's what we needed, especially, Sweat you couldn't count on for 10 sacks. We all know that. But you could count on him to set the edge and stop the run, and that's what Wilkerson did every time he came in for depth snaps. He made a play or two every game, it seemed.
Yeah, I think that you'll see a coming-out party next year for Marvin Wilson. Not obviously not the same position, but I Marvin is going to be a star. I think you'll see him start to come into his own. I think you got enough depth at defensive tackle. You're thin at defensive end.
I wonder if they go with a 3-man front, given that fact.
And that's what I'm waiting on. We'll see. I mean, and Willie wasn't sure either at the time that he was asked about it. I asked him about what he was going to do on both sides of the ball, and he said, well, we need some more time to assess. DeMarcus Christmas is a star, I think, too. So
that was huge news that he was coming back.
Well, the biggest, because I think he's a great player. I think he's a chance to be a great player.
I think with him and Wilson, I wish we had Wilkerson again, but with him and Wilson up the middle, you have a really good chance to come up and stop the run with consistency.
You know who never emerged? My guy never emerged.
Arthur Williams?
I always thought that Arthur, who looked freakishly large, arms the size of Texas, I thought that guy, just on physical attributes alone, tough to root out of there. He's going to be a star. Never did. Maybe he has a breaking out of a senior year or something like that.
Could have a LaMarcus Brutus type career where at the last moment, yeah.
All right, yeah. So that's unfortunate. But, okay, so long story short, you talk about the defense being key here. This is an offense that doesn't necessarily play to a defense. It exposes them. It puts them out there oftentimes on short rest and for many reps, many plays. And I think the number one thing that is going to take some getting used to is that while you've got plenty of talented players, and in the secondary in particular, you do. I mean, I think a kid like Stanford Samuels, the junior, has a chance to be a star. He's the complete package when you look at him. And you saw moments last year when you watched him that you said, "Oh, there you go."
Well, he's got some nasty to his game.
Well,
yes.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think that, while you're in the beginning stages of your career, maybe you hold back a little bit, but Stanford Samuel is going to be a really, really, really good player. I love the player that he is. But anyhow, secondary is pretty well loaded. The way we view a good defensive effort, it's really going to have to be about some of those advanced metrics when you're talking about the points per possessions and the yards per play and those kinds of things, because I think just the added reps that they're going to be on the field and possessions is going to see them give up a much bigger number week to week. And so if you're just going by scores, I think it would be very deceiving without question.
Well, and that's where you worry about that stretch on the back end of the season where you're playing Clemson, NC State, Notre Dame, Boston College, Florida. Is, how much depth do we have on defense? But to me, again, I think it's the key because the multiplier effect that I talked about, that's what I hope to see, because I do like more of a pro-style approach. I can't be convinced that this is the right move for us, but I don't want to see 49-42 games if we can, prevent that from happening.
Nobody does. I don't think it's conducive to putting yourself in a position to win national championships playing that way.
No, it's a 4-hour game that it's almost like basketball at that point. It doesn't matter who scores the first touchdown of the game or if you get up 10 in the first quarter, because it's going to come down to a couple of possessions in the fourth. So to me, if you can get that multiplier effect where you're going up 10 or 14, 17 points in, let's say, a 10-minute span because you can get a 3-and-out,
and then put together some drives that take up a little bit more time, slow it down some, and yeah.
Well, now they're one-dimensional, and so it can happen that quickly. But the fear I have is, let's say the offense has a little bit of a sluggish start to the season. They call it lethal simplicity, and I get that, but will the transition from where we were to where we're going be simple? That remains to be seen.
So there are some things that you cannot know with any certainty, right? You don't know. Oh, let's start with the big one. You asked yesterday afternoon in the 5 o'clock hour, and I gave a long-winded answer. I think I was vetting sort of my own thoughts on the fly, and hopefully you guys put up with that. But you don't know for certain that this is going to be the right fit for a number of these coaches, including the head coach, Willie Taggart. You don't know that. There is a risk involved in making coaching changes. That's just true. That's okay. Obviously you try to make that an educated guess and you do what you think is the right move, but you sit back and watch. I mean, Florida didn't intentionally screw it up, not once, but twice, but not once, twice, 3 times. I mean, obviously they thought McElwain was going to be a fine fit. Didn't work out. He had done a good job at Colorado State. There was evidence to suggest he might come in and obviously jumpstart an offense that had been terrible, and it failed miserably. So you don't know. I'd like to believe that's going to work out. I think it will, but we don't know for certain. There's a certain amount of risk that you take, and the reward has to be such that you say, okay, well, I'm willing to take that risk.
But there's also luck involved, too.
There is.
There are some things that are in your control. For example, if you're Urban Meyer, you take over at Florida, and you go get Percy Harvin and Tim Tebow, well, that's going to help your chances greatly.
Yeah, getting good players typically helps your chances.
But having everybody else, some of those upperclassmen that were helping you transition was also a key to that equation. With McElwain, he had Muschamp's defensive recruits.
And could dominate on that side of the ball while he tried to figure out the offense, and then he screwed it up by kicking Will Grier off the team.
It was the Grier suspension that undid his tenure, because if they would have won a hell of a lot more with Grier
said it at the time, my fear after watching Will Grier, I can't remember which game it was. I came into you that day and I went, uh-oh.
Yeah.
He's got a guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a guy. This is going to get interesting.
Right.
And then they kicked him off the team.
Right, exactly. I mean, when Jimbo got here, Christian Ponder was here. Don't you think that was important in bridging the gap to E.J. Manuel and getting recruits to say yes?
It was also important that Jimbo be who he was at that time, the perfect guy at the right time who could evaluate players currently on the roster not being utilized and going out and projecting for other players and convincing them to buy into a vision. Jimbo did a great job of that. No matter how it ended, the beginning of his time here and middle part of his time here was brilliant, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. And I get back to this not having a great degree of certainty, right? The difference is, okay, certainly we always talk Urban benefited greatly. Yes, he could recruit, and yes, he's a good football coach. No matter what we think of him personally, we know he's a good football coach. But it certainly helped that Florida State was down and Miami was down. So you have Miami's down. They're not a threat at the time. Florida State at the time is obviously, Bobby's at the end of his career. The game's passed him by, and we're just in limbo. And Urban rightfully took advantage of the situation, got the vast majority of the good players to say yes to Florida.
Yeah, and his next stop, Michigan is down, and Jim Tressel left him another loaded roster. Yes.
And he took advantage of it and won a national title.
And he did what he was supposed to do.
Yes. Right. Now it'll be interesting to see if he can do it again and where they go and how long he lasts there. But Jimbo comes in and Miami is down, and then Florida struggles after Urban leaves, and Jimbo takes advantage of the state being down, and he gets kids to say yes, buy into his vision, wins a lot of football games, dominates his rivals. I mean, owns Florida, owns Miami, and obviously that went a long way in the perception of who he was and what Florida State was in regards to the other elite teams in the state. The difference now is that Miami's got it back going in the right direction. At the time that Willie Taggart is starting, Georgia just played for a national title, so right up the road you got a team that's now back on the radar playing good football. Florida makes a change at head coach and brings in a guy in Dan Mullen, who you know is going to have good quarterback play. I mean, that's what he's done. They may not be the best team in the country, but he's going to have competent quarterback play for his system. We've been playing Florida year in and year out, and they haven't had a quarterback. And even when we were down on offense, they couldn't score to save their life, and we could win that game with the likes of a Dalvin Cook or whomever, right? You could find a way to win the game. But now you're going to be dealing with Dan Mullen and a team that we think, presumably, with the system that they run and competence at quarterback, are going to be pretty good on offense, certainly a far cry better. So this is a different deal for Willie coming in as he is and having to compete within a state that is the landscape is shifting towards being more than competent again.
Well, and in a conference that's as good as it's ever been.
Well,
as
with
deep
Clemson
as it's
now
ever been.
being as rich and deep and strong and as forward, you want to talk about that's a nightmare. That's part of the fear is that, now listen, he shouldn't think this way. Obviously, he knows what he's up against, but I'm just talking about it objectively as a fan, as much as those two things don't usually run concurrent. Here's the deal. I mean, you got to find a way to unseat Clemson now because, unfortunately, one of the bad things about the downturn of the previous regime is they got lapped by Clemson. They just did. He began to evaluate and recruit better and keep kids around, and they played hard, and they loved their coach and their university, so much so that those bastards are staying again this year, despite guaranteed millions of dollars.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they implemented a system, and they went out and got very good assistant coaches, and Brent Venables came over and began to dominate, and all of a sudden Clemson became the class of the Atlantic. And then in the midst of all of that, unfortunately, a transcendent, once-in-a-lifetime college quarterback came in, and Louisville had the upturn, and so you had more problems on deck. Anyhow, so that's what you're walking into. But Florida State is still very unique amongst the elite programs in college football, and if you are operating at peak efficiency, you'll be one of the best teams in the country in spite of all those factors.
But I think luck has a little bit to do with how a coach will succeed in his first 2 or 3 years because that helps send the message. Like, for example, right, if Michigan wins last year, they beat Ohio State as they should have on the road, or is that 2? No, that was last year. that changes the way that recruits perceive your program. The rivalry is perceived nationally, and so therefore you're going to be talked about differently. Maybe they threaten the playoff or whatever it is, but he has a win over Ohio State. It was critical that Mark Richt got a win over Florida State this year. I mean,
certainly helped, yeah.
It changed the course of their season. It was only too late where they revealed as frauds.
Well, they had a lot of change the course of their season moments last year. But you're right. The tip ball against Georgia Tech certainly comes to mind.
What can he say, though, in a living room now? That he couldn't say last year.
That's right. When they stay here, we're building something special. I'm one of you. I played here. Stay home and help the Canes, help the U get back to where they need to be. We just knocked off Florida State up there last year.
Right.
We're building things.
These aren't empty words because, look, we went up there and we won a football game. I think it was critical that Ponder was here for Jimbo because he could say after the 2009 season, look, that Georgia Tech game was a perfect example of what I'm talking about, LaMarcus Joyner. I can put up points left and right, but I need guys to help me not let the other team score points. So why don't you come here?
Yeah,
look, I have progress here. I was in control of the offense, and look what I've done with the offense. Now look what happens if I have control of the defense. Is if we didn't make a bowl in 2009, and Ponder wasn't there, and we go 4-8 or some such nonsense that Florida's gone, 4-win season, something like that, that sets you back. What can you rightfully say to a recruit who's going to change the way your program is perceived? Maybe he doesn't get a yes from LaMarcus Joyner. Maybe he doesn't get a couple other yeses that he would have in December of that year. He's a really good recruiter, but if you only have 4 wins to work with and you're the offensive guy and you don't produce on offense with any consistency, see what happens to Jim McElwain. So you need a bounce or two this season to go your way in order to stay in control of the narrative.
It's funny you talk about Harbaugh at Michigan, and we think about the crazy loss to Michigan State.
Oh, man, yeah. In retrospect, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a doozy. That is
that also last year?
That was 2015, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right. We played Louisville that day here at home.
Yeah, it was Harbaugh, 8-5 this past year, 10-3 the year before, 10-3 the year before that. So in 2016, Michigan, it was funny at the end of last year when we beat Michigan to win the Orange Bowl 33-32. The thought was they're in trouble coming up next year because they were so senior laden.
Right.
It was that same year you're talking about a 2 overtime loss to Ohio State, and his dumbass has his quarterback out there throwing the football.
Right, in the second half of the game when you have complete control.
Right.
You're going to the playoff. You know what I mean? Like you're probably going to win that next week, and that changes everything.
Instead, you lose 3 out of 4 to end the year.
Right.
And one of those is a loss to Iowa. Iowa's always in the mix of that conversation.
That's correct.
I mean, you don't want to go and play in Kinnick Stadium with something on the line. It's not a place you want to go play.
But if the results turn on a couple of those plays, and it sounds like Bowden, right? Or Jimbo
you lose
away.
14-13 to Iowa, and you lose in 2 overtimes to Ohio State. If he wins both those games,
right, then everybody has what they believed about Harbaugh confirmed. And so, therefore, even if they don't win the title, they don't even have to win it. Maybe they score a point against Clemson in the playoff better than Ohio State did. But, people's beliefs about Harbaugh would be confirmed. And so, therefore, the program would continue to be talked about in a glowing way. And what does that do? That keeps the buzz alive. Right now, what buzz is there with Michigan at the moment compared to what there was when Harbaugh first took over?
The buzz you got to create at Florida State, Willie Taggart this first year, it isn't so much supplanting Clemson. You have to show signs, that you're capable and soon, that you are on the come, that soon we are going to see that. It's tough when you look, by the way, at Clemson's schedule. Yes, they've got the road game against Texas A&M, and allegedly that's a very tough place to go play. I roll my eyes. A&M is always under the tent of suspicion no matter who's coaching there. But they get Furman to start. Then it's A&M. And you know how we were talking about the schedule yesterday? We're talking about the areas of concern and the patches that are going to be tough. It's hard to find them with Clemson's schedule. I mean, it is. You're right. I went back and looked at it after the show.
No short weeks. No nothing.
No short weeks. It's about as good of a schedule as you can want, given that you're going to have to play some good teams. But, it's hard to find losses on Clemson's schedule unless we're to knock them off in late October here in Tallahassee.
Right.
NC State before that game, and it's at home for them. Louisville's not what they were, and they handled Louisville without a problem, even when Louisville was what they were. Boston College, Duke, South Carolina, maybe. Maybe.
Probably the Georgia Tech game on the road.
By the way,
you would circle.
I guess.
Well, Syracuse was something nobody would ever have guessed this past year.
Friday night games
or Pitt the year before.
Right, but Pickett scored and played really well that year after. You remember they beat Penn State's ass.
They did.
So the only thing I'd say is that Syracuse game is weird. You're right. Two things happened. They lost their starting quarterback to a concussion, and that'll affect the mood of a game, and it's on a weird Friday night, nothing atmosphere. It just was a strange game. I don't want to excuse it away, but it was a weird game. It's hard, and that's why they play the games. So,
correct.
Yes.
But it's not like they've been 2013 us.
No. They have not just cruised and dominated. Very few teams do. Not even Alabama.
Sure.
I'm looking at that, man.
Oh, we can only suffer one ACC loss in that first 7 games, and that would be to the Coastal, because then you get the tiebreaker over Clemson.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
You can't go.
No, they're not gonna. They're not gonna stumble more than once if they stumble at all. You have to hope that that obviously we rise up and have things together and ready to play them. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
And dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Does the winter have you missing some golf? Well, we miss it too. That's why we're happy to announce our friends at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill have decided to golf for a great cause. Join us Friday, January 19th for the 2nd annual Corner Pocket Winter Classic. Tee time on Friday, January 19th is 11 a.m. with 10 a.m. registration at the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Individual golfers can sign up for $50 and foursomes for $200, with the event including contests, raffles, and prizes. This year's proceeds will benefit the Big Bend Community-Based Care, who specialize in helping local area foster teens. Support this worthy cause while hitting the links with us. The 2nd annual Corner Pocket Winter Classic, Friday, January 19th, 11 a.m. at the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Sign up the day of the event or early by emailing cornerpocketevents@gmail.com. That's cornerpocketevents@gmail.com.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Here's a love story between a restaurant and its city, and the people of its city. For 45 years, Andrews has been serving up great food, great fun, and great memories in the heart of Tallahassee. Today, Andrews is better than ever, with an all-new look, Tallahassee's original Sunday brunch, a new outdoor pergola, and an incredible happy hour. All to bring the best of the best to you. Come make memories at Andrews. Better than ever.
Meet Zelle, a new way to pay. It can send money fast to Ray. I'll pay back half the bill for the tapas we ate, so he knows it wasn't a date.
Oh.
Zelle's safe and fast. I'll pay back Bree. Thanks. Who bought tickets to the symphony and send money to my cousin Matt, who volunteered to watch my cat.
The new way to send money from your banking app, Zelle. This is how money moves. More info at ZellePay.com.
Must have a bank account in the U.S. to use Zelle. Transactions between enrolled users usually take minutes.
Febreze Car presents When Stinks Interrupt.
Thanks for the ride, sis.
No problem. Good flight?
Yeah, Oh.
Chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets.
Did you stop?
Chicken.
For fast food?
Nuggets. Not today. Why?
Oh, chicken nuggets.
Pro tip, sis. Pick up Febreze Car, then pick up your brother.
Febreze Car has 2 new ways to drive away embarrassing odors. Now available without heavy perfumes or with extra bold scent.
Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. So somebody noted that they would be disappointed today if we did not end up utilizing the Charlie Weiss belt segment that we used to do. Just a mere mention of it is good. Belt buckle, fibers within the belt, holding on for dear life.
Something happened to Charlie?
No, nothing. I was talking this morning. I actually spent a little time on Twitter this morning and just put something out there that I can't. I typed that subconsciously I must want to misplace my belt a minimum of 4 times a week because it happens so frequently, and then I'm humbled by my idiocy. I can never find my belt, and this morning that happened, and I thought that you must secretly really want to do this because every night when you set your belt down wherever it is, and I rarely remember, I say, well, you make sure you remember you put the belt here because, damn it, yesterday that was ridiculous waiting 10 minutes to try to find a belt. And then I did sure as hell.
My dad's closet growing up, he had to walk in with all the suits and stuff because he worked, in the business industry. So you have to have all your suits and shirts and ties.
In a row, man.
Yeah, the shoes all laid out.
It's the way to do it.
It is.
But I don't do that.
He had his favorite.
I work in radio.
He had his favorite black and favorite brown belt.
Sure.
And he put little hooks in the wall right in the beginning of the
where
closet.
They go, right.
And that's where they went. Now, he had different belts for everything else, for other circumstances, if he's wearing khakis or some such thing.
That's right.
But he had his favorite 2 belts, and they would always be put on the hooks.
So our friend Enrique Shockwave tweeted at me and said, if you put it in the same spot every day, Jeff, you'll always know where it is. Hashtag, oh, blank, I'm turning into my mother. And that's right. I hear my mother, you'd lose your head if it wasn't screwed on, and other such sayings every time I'm walking through the house, angrily shouting to the family, has anybody seen my belt?
And that's exactly how you would shout that.
Well, after about 5 minutes of looking for it, that's how it turns. The first 5 minutes, I don't want them to know I've lost the belt.
Right.
Because I don't want them thinking, again, Dad with the belt. It's like the guy in the commercial with the keys to the spaceship about to fight the enemy. That's me.
Right.
Every other morning, damn, I thought I put it, man. But no. So anyhow, I got a response from a guy named Todd who said, hey, man, he'd be sad if he didn't hear the Charlie Weiss belt bit. But I'm not going there today. But then immediately following, I guess they got people thinking about bits, and this person wrote, Mel Kiper's Big Board is one of my favorite Jeff Cameron Show sound bites. So you'll hear it next hour. We will. It is that time of year because I noticed Mel Kiper's NFL mock draft, this is important, 1.0 is up. The 1.0 is up, baby. You and I love to celebrate the lunacy that is the 1.0 and the subsequent radical shifts in movement for players from number 1 to 24 to 2. And why not make that guy number 1? What the hell's the difference? Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it, they got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Want better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine? Change your oil every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. You know that sticker on your windshield? Don't look at it now. Wait until the next red light. Okay, check the number on your sticker. Then check your odometer. Is it time? There are 19 Tallahassee area Super Lube locations, which means there's one close to you right now. No appointments, and you're in and out in no time. You could do this today. Super Lube, for better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine.
How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities says 'tis the season to save energy and money. And that's why your own utilities says it's time to focus on those Energy Star appliances, like clothes washers, dishwashers, refrigerators, and freezers, even pool pumps and water heaters. Rebates range from $40 to $300. AC and heat pump rebates go as high as $750. And when you buy Energy Star appliances, you save twice. You'll save when you get the rebate from the City of Tallahassee Utilities, and you'll save again on your utility bill, because it's a fact that Energy Star appliances use less energy than their non-Energy Star counterparts. So look for the Energy Star when you shop local for appliances this holiday season. Get all the Energy Star rebate details at talgov.com. Your own utilities. Click on products and services, and all will be revealed. 'Tis the season to save. Save energy and save money with the City of Tallahassee Utilities Energy Star rebates. You'll save with the rebate, and you save on your utility bill. Happy holidays from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities, and America's #1 public utility.
Running low on the stuff you need? Time for a Target run. We're here for all the big moments and the little ones too, like restocking the fridge. Get a free $5 gift card when you spend $15 on your go-tos, like Pepsi Soda or Gatorade. Or saving big, like up to 10% off big, when you use Cartwheel in the Target app on your favorite essential and beauty items. Find deals in-store like Tide Laundry Detergent or Tresemme Hair Care. Get low prices on thousands of items today and every day. Target run and done. Restrictions may apply.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. We may or may not learn more about Tom Brady's right hand injury when the Patriots quarterback meets the media later today. Brady was on the field for at least the start of practice today after reportedly jamming his right hand when he collided with a teammate on Wednesday. In a Michigan courtroom, the victim impact statements continue for a third day in the sentencing hearing for former Team USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar. He has pleaded guilty to 10 counts of criminal sexual assault. Nassar wrote a 6-page letter to the judge saying he was concerned about his mental health, having to listen to his victims in the courtroom. At the sweltering Australian Open today, 2014 champ Stan Wawrinka and the reigning Wimbledon champ Garbiñe Muguruza are both knocked out in the second round. Tomorrow's temperatures in Melbourne could hit 108 degrees. Our live coverage resumes at 11 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. College basketball tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN. Number 13 Gonzaga hosting St. Mary.
To win in basketball, you got to play great coverage. And with Straight Talk Wireless, you know you're getting great coverage because they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Hope you're well. You know, too many stay warm out there comments for people in the last 48 hours. We need to stop that, guys. It's like the standard refrain, kind of when you're walking out of somewhere, stay warm out there.
That just means you've seen a lot of acquaintances. Because friends, like, all right, be good, man.
I'm going to start saying annoying things like that to people who I'm real close to, just to see what you guys do. I want you to have to. So, like in the dead of summer, I'm going to go, woo, it's a warm one.
Somewhat related, unrelated, just to, regular life things away from sports. I just said to Matthew, this may be one of the 7 times I have to turn to a cup of coffee. I'm running out of gas here.
You're just going to admit that to the masses that you just don't have it today.
No, I have it. No, the mind is sharp, but the energy, it's dwindling here. We're only at 4 o'clock. Let's go.
No, I feel like I've got plenty of energy to carry the day, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
we're
okay.
All right. We're good to go. I keep getting this suspicion that the Jags are going to be in that game in the fourth quarter. There you go, Duval. That's your big thing now, right? You guys are yelling Duval?
Oh, jeez.
I know, that's annoying, right? But here's the thing that I'll say about it. I really do think they'll be hanging around there. I'm surprised to see the number. I think 10.5.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you feel like the Patriots are fallible? I don't think that's a great Patriots team. The problem is we knew all along that if they were allowed to figure it out, and teams didn't take advantage of opportunities early. Like the Bucs did not take advantage of the opportunity to knock off the Patriots at home at night. And the Patriots gave them chance after chance.
87 opportunities in that game. Oh, yeah.
So they come up short. They don't get it done. Some other teams follow suit. But you kind of knew that, man, they'll get it figured out. I think that's the thing I admire most. I get why. Oh, listen, I'm not telling you I don't understand why they're favored or why they're even prohibitive favorites. But it's that they don't look like a dominant team. There isn't one. There isn't a dominant team.
Yeah, if you look at the Patriots' last, call it 6 games, including the playoffs, in there is the Miami loss on Monday Night Football. Then there's also the Pittsburgh game that very next week where they were not the better team, but they won in situations, as Jimbo likes to say, plus a review that went their way.
Had no business winning the game.
27-24 winners there. But then they take care of business. They beat Buffalo 37-16, beat the Jets 26-6, and then they play. You're playing the Titans in the divisional round. Good God.
Helps, right?
Yeah, they did what they were supposed to do with 35-14.
Well, and here's the thing. Whether you think Marcus Mariota is going to emerge someday as a very good quarterback in this league, or you're in my camp that thinks that's probably not the case, what I'll say to you is this. When Mariota doesn't have access to the legs, doesn't have access to be able to really put defenses on edge and on their heels because of his running capabilities, and he has to play from the pocket, you have to be very concerned by what you see. And the reason for that is all of these running quarterbacks get hurt. It's very troubling, right? They all do. That's why you don't have a lot of faith in it, and then you want to see what they are from the pocket.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the Patriots, and again, their defense came on late, so maybe some of these numbers aren't as valid as they would be, say, in the middle of October, late October. But still, after a season, the Patriots were 31st in yards per attempt allowed on the ground. That is to say, Leonard Fournette, and the Jags attack, it may have some success because they were the 31st defense in yards per attempt on the ground.
Well, I think the recipe for the Jags is so abundantly clear that it's fascinating how it worked in Pittsburgh. It speaks to a physicality that Pittsburgh could do nothing about. Did anybody have any question about what was coming in Jacksonville? In Pittsburgh? With Bortles coming off the game that he had. They weren't going to put the game in his hands. They were going to come out. They were going to play great defense. They were going to be very physical. They were going to run the football and give him a chance to throw off a play action. And early in that game, when the Jags got up 21-0, they controlled both lines of scrimmage. They were more physical. And when Bortles was asked to make plays, they were plays where he was either in the advantage or certainly not far behind the chains. And he made those plays to his credit. But, then it got interesting because all of a sudden defenses just decided to give up a ton of yards and a ton of points. But
yeah. But by way of comparison, if you just look at total rushing defense, the overall raw yardage, New England's 20th. And you say, all right, they're average. But if you look at the per attempt, it's 4.7. And that's what Jacksonville's going to do. Make no mistake.
That's what they have to do.
Yes, they have to run the ball 30, 35 times.
Well, that's why you brought in a sledgehammer. It's why you drafted him. That's what he is.
That's not including quarterback runs because now they figured it out after week 1 in the playoffs. Well, we need to design about 3 or 4 runs at minimum for Bortles because
you've seen the stat on Bortles in his career, right? I think he's top 5 in yards per carry.
Yes.
At quarterback. The league, there are players that are known at that position for being able to run, and you would assume as much. When you see a stat like that and it involves a Russell Wilson or it involves a Marcus Mariota or somebody like that, you go, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you see it from Blake Bortles, you go, oh.
They were laughing about it wild card weekend, the 10-3 game with the Bills. Romo was laughing about it because he said, well, this is the most obscure stat you'll hear because it's minimum 200 attempts. That must have been important, Jim, the minimum 200 attempts.
Right.
But Bortles is second at the time
he was
or
right
whatever.
There. Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah.
But the point is he's an athlete.
Yeah.
And maybe we're all victims of or guilty of stereotyping by saying, he doesn't look like an athlete. Code for he's white. And so maybe we were all guilty of that and listen, the Jags have been largely unwatchable up until this season. So not a lot of people are tuned in.
There's no doubt that the number is eyebrow raising. The 8.5 as it is now. It opened 9?
It opened as high as 10 originally. I think I saw in some places, and I thought that's way too much.
But angry Tom Brady is angry Tom Brady. We talk about angry Phillip Rivers all the time, but this is also they found another revenge tour because of this hit piece that came out, and that's the way they would see it. Others may see it as a factual account of the things that are going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But they see it as a hit piece, and here's another opportunity to prove to the world, nobody channels that stuff better than the Patriots do. That's just true.
Red asses in general find ways to get extremely motivated by perceived slights. That's just how that works.
Helps that they're good.
Yes, right. It's not. You have to be able to do something about the perceived slight. Here's the thing, though, Tom. Why they'll always get the benefit of the doubt. And understandably so, and they should be favored. I'm not suggesting that the Jags ought to be favored on the road against the Patriots. No way. And I'm picking the Patriots to win the game. Maybe not at 10, but nonetheless. The Steelers last week, we talked about this. First of all, you have a sack fumble picked up for a score. Okay? You have an interception thrown by Roethlisberger inside his own 20. On 4th and 1, you pitch the ball 9 yards into the backfield, and you have a 260-pound quarterback.
That was the call of the game.
Well, it's asinine. It ruined all momentum the Steelers had. They're going to go down and score. They don't convert on that play. Later on 4th down, same scenario, you run play action. Again, against a secondary that can really cover. So, I don't know that I would have fired anybody per se after that game, but if you want to say singularly in that game they made colossally stupid coaching decisions in important moments, the answer is they did. And those are the kinds of things that New England's not going to do. You're not going to get the head-scratching, that is insane, play call from Bill Belichick or a lack of execution inside his own 20 from Brady. Now, that's to some degree unfair to the Jags doing something about it. Like we were just talking about the Patriots being capable of doing something about it. Jacksonville causes you to feel pressure. Jacksonville causes you to make mistakes. Because they're so good on defense, you have to fit the ball into tight windows. They close. They're physical. They'll pick the football off. They get pressure on the quarterback. They're physical up front. So they cause some of the hurriedness that you see that lead to mistakes. So I don't want to take away from them. But in big games like this, you don't typically see New England do things that one would phrase as beating themselves.
Even though New England is favored by 8.5 at the moment, and you have the other side, it's a 3-point game where Minnesota's on the road as a 3-point favorite. So you could say it's a touchdown, since they're the road team. I would still say that the AFC Championship is the more fascinating game of the two. I don't think there's any doubt that that's the more fascinating game because you have an angry bunch in Jacksonville.
You have upstart, shocked the world,
yes.
Went to Pittsburgh, now trying to go to New England, brashly telling anybody that will listen, we're not only going to go up there and win, we're then going to go to the Super Bowl and win that too. That plays well, certainly to an audience.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it might be the closer final score. I'm just saying it's a fascinating thing to put, in a beaker and see what happens.
Here's your problem, though. I will say this. Jacksonville's got to do what they did against Pittsburgh, which is get off to a really quick start to give themselves that chance because they got off to that start in Pittsburgh, and you could see shock on the face of the Steelers, who already had to have had a little bit of doubt anyhow, given the fact that the Jags had manhandled them earlier in the year. So the Jags were brash. They believed. They got out to a quick lead. They were looking to the crowd. Where you at? We own your ass. And then it turned into a game, somewhat surprisingly, after it was 21-0. If New England gets up a couple touchdowns, and Blake Bortles, and Jacksonville's got to come out of the run game, and they got to rely on Blake Bortles against that New England defense. No. Then it gets ugly. They cover the spread easy, and people go, well, see?
Yeah, but isn't it, doesn't it feel like it's going to be a 3-0 game after the first quarter? You go, well, here it is. They're right here. They're right in it.
What helps the NFL is that I can't, and I think this is true, we've spent some time. I had a good run this year in the NFL. Not doing that to pat myself on the back. I have years where I have terrible runs, and I admit to that too. But I never shy away from admitting to you guys something plain and simple. I love to gamble. I love gambling. It's my money. I'm a grown-ass man. I'll gamble if I want to, and I do. I had a terrific run against the number, Tom, in the NFL. That rarely happens. And yet I sit here today, having spent 30 seconds right there bragging on me and my greatness against the spread this year in the NFL, and I can't tell you with any degree of certainty, and that benefits the NFL greatly, that in truth, we get to this point, it's a lot about who can dictate terms, who can get the game to play out the way they want it to. Again, these are contrasting styles.
You know what that means, though? Because you want to pick Jacksonville plus 8.5.
I felt I liked the 10 when I first saw it. I went, oh, you're going to give me double digits with that defense? Sure. But now that it's coming down, I don't know.
That tells you that one of two things is going to happen. Jacksonville's going to win outright, and you're going to be mad that you didn't pull the trigger on it. Or New England's going to win by 24. It's not going to be right at that number.
Well, I entertain the fact that there's a distinct possibility. It is the foremost, but I have to admit, if I had to bet it, I'm going to say maybe the latter, maybe the 24 or more.
Right.
Because I can't trust Blake Bortles, and I don't want to continually just rip that guy, but,
You could just present the facts, and perhaps it might
Blake
be considered
Bortles,
ripping him.
Man, and I'm just saying. So it's hard, very difficult to say I'm putting my faith in Blake on the road against the New England Patriots. Then again, I guess you could argue that last week, too, with the Steelers. Most people thought it was a foregone conclusion they would be getting a rematch with the New England Patriots. Perhaps the Steelers did, too, and that was a terrible mistake. I woke up and was alarmed regarding news off the field in the NFL when I read the paper this morning. But I'll tell you that we can all rest easy. I'll tell you what that's about next. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this. moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Better gas mileage and a longer lasting engine.
How I love to superloop my car, yes sir.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac is back at it, supporting the High School Scholar Athlete of the Month on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Listen every Wednesday to hear our monthly winners. Check them out at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMCCadillac.com.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9, happy hour drink specials, and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are coming in January to West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Pop quiz. What's the most important part of a ship? Don't answer. It's the crow's nest. Know why? Complete visibility. I can see what's on the horizon and my crew pulling the ship together on the deck below. That's how I run this ship, and that's why we use Grainger. Grainger helps us keep a clear eye on our inventory, saving us time, saving us money, and helping keep everything ship shape. It's always smooth sailing with Grainger. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I have known for some time now that some insurance companies are not exactly being truthful with their customers, stating such things as if you do not use one of their approved body shops, they will not guarantee the repairs, or it may cost you more out of pocket. Here at Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, the work we do is guaranteed for as long as you own your vehicle. Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, 385-2665.
License number MP46050.
Jackson Hewitt has big news. The no-fee refund advance just got bigger. Now you could get up to $3,200 today. Go to Jackson Hewitt and you could get up to $3,200 with a bigger-than-ever no-fee refund advance 0% APR loan. Don't delay. Go to Jackson Hewitt today and you could get up to $3,200. Optional tax refund loan provided by Medevac, not the actual tax refund. You can e-file without applying. Fees for other optional products may apply. Availability and loan amount subject to conditions and locations. Bigger is a comparison to the maximum loan amounts previously available for the refund advance at Jackson Hewitt. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Termbusters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-800-569-5440. That's 1-800-569-5440. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Termbusters, 1-800-569-5440, or visit our website at termbusters.net. Remember, 1-800-569-5440. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Cameron Show, 97.9. I almost coughed. 97.9 ESPN Radio. So I woke up, I got alarmed. I saw a headline. And this makes me so petty. I hold on to disdain, grudges. The headline just read, Chris Berman making NFL primetime return. And I saw that headline. I went, come on, man. Can we not leave well enough alone? We had a good thing going. I could freely flip between channels as I prepped for my NFL Sundays and or the playoffs or any other such endeavor, knowing that at no point would I accidentally stumble across just ridiculousness in the form of Chris Berman going, yeah, and saying nothing. I was very frustrated, Tom. I said, I knew it. I knew he couldn't stay away. So
you destroyed the only thing I love.
But then I went on to read a little bit more and I realized, okay. The story as follows. Chris Berman, known for his bluster, catchphrases, succinctly recapped what he's seen both ESPN and the NFL endure in the nearly 12 months since his transition from his regular hosting roles at the network. The NFL and ESPN have had different years, Berman told the USA Today. The NFL has been a target of President Trump for its handling of player protests during the national anthem to draw attention to social justice issues and police brutality, and critics have celebrated the league's dip in ratings. ESPN, meanwhile, has had layoffs, its own battle with Trump that arose over tweets from SportsCenter's Jemele Hill, and the surprising resignation of John Skipper, the network's president, in December. Despite setbacks, both entities remain dominant in the U.S. sports landscape, and a little reminder of that won't hurt. That's why Berman seems so eager to rejoin his longtime broadcast partner and former NFL linebacker Tom Jackson and a special NFL prime time on ESPN this Sunday. I was so sad, but then I found out it was fleeting. Just a one-time thing, and I went, woo! Okay, I know what not to watch this Sunday evening. We're good. He goes back to where he needs to be.
We have audio from the future. This is audio of next Monday when you wake up.
All right. Yeah, last January, a year ago, he had signed a multi-year extension at ESPN, a network that looked like we were going to start to see him continue hit what he was doing. Then he backed out, and then all that other stuff. And we played that clip, and I celebrated. And here's what I'll say about that. By all accounts, those that have worked with him or directly, know him and have spent time with him, a few of those guys have reached out occasionally when I've been highly critical a couple of times and said...
Couple of times?
2, 25, whatever it might be.
Maybe the subject of 7 to 10 show promos over the years.
Yeah. And said, listen, he's a super guy and did all that. And I don't doubt that. I don't know. I've tried not to make that personal. There's no way to criticize a guy's job and what he says in that job and how he goes about doing that job without it getting somewhat personal.
Or his appearance.
Well, yeah, okay, that was really personal.
Tie choices and spray on.
Just any number of things.
Spray on hair.
Whatever color that hair was and the lack thereof and, just the interesting choices. That, in the midst of a home run derby going back on every single home run when you're calling a home run derby. Those kinds of choices.
Imagine him calling a dunk contest.
Oh.
2 points!
Slams it home! It's a dunk contest, Chris. Bet this next guy dunks as well. Just saying. Something tells me this guy's going to dunk just like the last guy did. We probably don't have to emphatically note.
Actually, the better example is probably the 3-point shooting contest, right?
From downtown,
they make
over and over,
way downtown,
over and over.
Way downtown.
See, even that's annoying now, right? You can't, just the idea of that. That's what he would do during the home run contest, in between gibberish. yeah, but in between that and just weird sounds out of nowhere. Whoop! Just stupid stuff like that where you're like, what are we doing?
Trip skis.
What are we doing? So I was celebrating, had been celebrating. It was a prolonged celebration, maybe even daily for the first 6 months. That celebration lasted, noting that was never again going to be on my television, fully noting that, yes, way back in 1979, months after ESPN launched and all that good stuff, he was a big part of its rise to fame. Gotcha, prominence, did it, changed the game, all duly noted. You can do both.
There was a time.
There was a time.
Yeah.
That's right. And you can acknowledge that and even admire it and doff the cap and never want to hear it or see it again. So I can assure you all we're in good shape. It's just a one-time fleeting little, hey, let's get the game back together. I know you love Tom Jackson.
I do. So the unpopular thing to say here is that I'm actually going to catch that because I want to see that. Well, I want to make sure that I want to make sure that Tom Jackson's doing okay.
You're worried about Tom Jackson.
I was.
So we do this. This is something we do, and I don't know if. Listen, I'm somewhat sensitive to it as I've gotten older. Maybe not as much as some people would want me to be, or maybe more than some people would want me to be. But if we suspect the guy's in trouble, I'm talking about like your health, your life light. Like if we start thinking that's dimming, we bring it up. And some people find that, couched in certain ways. They think that that's insensitive or cruel. But, people are overly sensitive as it is. Everybody loves to be offended by everything all the time these days, and I just roll my eyes at that because, come on, we're better than that. We don't have to be so sensitive. But you had grave concerns for Tom Jackson towards the end, and you brought it up on two separate occasions where you said, what's going on with Tom?
Well, there's two potential things here.
I didn't notice it, by the way.
No. Not because it was because of the timing of him stepping away.
You thought he was dealing with problems.
It was sudden. Well, it could be health related, or it could be that he knew that they were going to axe
move a different direction. Yeah,
and so he said,
those two were the best of friends. You can tell that.
That's so either he did the ultimate,
that's my dog.
Ultimately loyal thing, which it's something that Tom Jackson kind of strikes me as somebody who would do something.
It's
like
really
that.
Admirable.
Or, he's just getting up there and maybe his playing days are catching up to him or something along those lines.
Maybe he recognized that his best days were behind him and he'd done enough in his career and it was time to fade off into the sunset.
Remember the context, too. There was some public appearance. It wasn't
he was
ESPN.
Hammered. He was hammered.
So
No, that was a Louisville game.
That's what it was.
That was a Louisville game.
Which makes me love him all the more.
It made me smile, too, as long as it wasn't part of a bigger problem.
Correct.
It was a well-off. He was being honored. Having played at Louisville, he was being honored. There was some night, I think, by the way, Lee Corso was being honored that night too, because, of course, he coached there. And so there was something where that was happening, and Tom Jackson came in the booth and was quite obviously hammered.
Yeah.
Slurring away there. They kind of had to cut to break and
Well, he was honored on the field, too, and you could kind of...
Well, remember, they cut to Berman in the bowels of a baseball stadium after a game, wasn't it? And he was...
That was in Wrigley.
That was Van Pelt.
It might have been after a game in Cleveland, but it had to do with the Cubs World Series. And
Van Pelt brought him in, and it was just, you're like, oh, Chris has had a good time.
He knows it's at the end. What are they going to do, fire me?
Yeah. He had a good time.
Yeah.
It was time to move it along.
I'm going to get my Harry Carey on. But so I don't know what the real circumstances of Tom Jackson stepping away are, and that's why Sunday I'm going to check in and make sure they're for the right reasons. Yeah.
Well, that's funny because there are people that are endearing, and he's one, and that you want to be sure that as they walk away, everything's okay. I mean, it's weird because Dick Enberg just passed not all that long ago, right? We've lost a lot of legends. I mean, Keith Jackson just last week. So we've lost a lot of legends.
Knock on wood, Vince Scully is still chugging.
But he can't be for much longer.
Right.
I mean, by definition, he can't.
It won't be shocking.
No, it won't be shocking. And people do that, and that pisses me off. When somebody's 95 and they die, it's not stunning. Yeah. It's really not even that sad. What's sad is that maybe you won't get to see them anymore and the voice is gone, but you live 95 years doing what you love, having been great at it, living a fulfilling life. We should celebrate that moment. Those closest to him will be sad that they no longer can physically put their hands on him, hug him, say, thanks, great to see you, Granddad, whatever it is. I got you. But it's not that sad. You hear people say that. They're like, oh, it's devastating.
It would shock me that because I don't know that he can die. I think Vince Scully could live to 110, and he could still call a baseball game at 110.
The best of all time, or certainly in the conversation, and I agree. But I don't know that it would shock you. I think if tomorrow we get up and we see Vince Scully has died, you're going to go, well.
No, it won't. I'm just making light of the fact that I think he could live forever.
He certainly can still call a damn game.
It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. When he was throwing out the first pitch and doing the play-by-play of him throwing out the first pitch, that was insane.
Yeah, what sucks for Enberg, though, is he could, too. Still,
he was still great.
He had the one moment about the cat and stuff.
That wasn't a bad moment. Why don't you play that?
No. It's buried away at the moment anyway.
It's a funny moment. He's talking about a cat. He's talking about a cat.
Have to go hunt it down.
The funny thing about the moment is his color analyst is unable to contain himself. And it is, and I don't know, do you think, here's the question I have when you listen to the clip, and we'll find it before we go to break. I'm going to ask you this question, all right? Do you think, and this is props to Enberg that I would even have to ask this question, do you think Enberg knew what he was doing?
Yeah.
And having fun?
So I have
knowing he could get away with it because he is talking about a cat.
That is clear. It's on the television screen as he's narrating.
There's a cat.
Yeah.
So he could do that knowing he could get away with it because he's talking about a cat. Do you think he understood what he was doing there in order to get a rise out of his partner and for others at home to chuckle?
I think the follow-up comment / follow-up, whatever it is he does, if you haven't heard this clip yet.
Right. It's a great clip.
I think it further muddies the water as to whether or not
I
don't know. I don't know.
I tell you, I think he knew. And that's what makes me love him even more because I think he thought it was funny and he knew he could get away with it. And he also thought it was funny that he had made his partner crack up because he had him rolling. And then he just kept going. It's what you and I would do if we had the other.
Correct, but I don't know that, at 31 years old and with a career in front of me, I'd want to take that risk of trying, Well,
they're not going to do anything to Dick Enberg, and
Correct.
he certainly knew that.
That's what I'm saying is, yes, he could take all the chances he wants if, in fact, he knew what he was doing.
I think he did, and that's why I'm doffing the cap. Here's the clip as we go to break. He's talking about a cat. Obviously, it's a little risque if you got kids in the car, but it's funny. And it's funny because if you listen to the color analyst, he can't keep it together, and Enberg gets weird. He gets weird. Doesn't he meow?
Yes.
It gets weird.
Yes, he does.
Here it is as we go to break.
Cat not happy about the 5-3.
That's a plump pussy right there.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty.
Craft Nissan. Our lifetime warranty is a game changer for buying cars in Tallahassee and Thomasville. You already know it extends the factory powertrain for unlimited time and unlimited miles. But here are the facts. Craft Nissan's lifetime warranty is backed by Great American Insurance Company, an A-rated company that was founded in 1872 with billions in assets. The same company that underwrites GM's GMPP and Ford's Gap Insurance. Craft Nissan's lifetime warranty comes with every new Nissan we sell and most pre-owned vehicles that are 5 years old or newer with 50,000 miles or less. While Craft Nissan's service department will certainly exceed your expectations and keep your records, you're not required to service with us. To maintain the warranty, you perform the manufacturer's recommended maintenance and keep your records. You can do that at any licensed repair shop in the U.S. or Canada. It's that easy. What's the catch? There are no catches, hidden fees, or gimmicks. Craft Nissan provides the product as an added value to our customers for doing business with us. So when you're ready to buy from Craft Nissan, the home of our original and the only real lifetime warranty at no charge. Craft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Ah, the perfect lunch spot. A nearly impossible find. Thankfully for Tallahassee, we have Metro Deli. A downtown gem for over 15 years, Metro Deli is locally owned and features the best deli meats, cheeses, breads, and ingredients in the city. Enjoy daily specials and soups, salads and wraps. There's something for everyone. Metro Deli offers online ordering for pickup or delivery and will cater your office breakfast or lunch too. Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot is Metro Deli. MetroDeliTally.com. That's MetroDeliTally.com.
Does the winter have you missing some golf? Well, we miss it too. That's why we're happy to announce our friends at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill have decided to golf for a great cause. Join us Friday, January 19th for the second annual Corner Pocket Winter Classic. Tee time on Friday, January 19th is 11 a.m. with 10 a.m. registration at the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Individual golfers can sign up for $50 and foursomes for $200, with the event including contests, raffles, and prizes. This year's proceeds will benefit the Big Bend Community-Based Care, who specialize in helping local area foster teens. Support this worthy cause while hitting the links with us. The second annual Corner Pocket Winter Classic, Friday, January 19th, 11 a.m. at the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Sign up the day of the event or early by emailing cornerpocketevents@gmail.com. That's cornerpocketevents@gmail.com.
Running low on the stuff you need? Time for a Target run. We're here for all the big moments and the little ones too, like restocking the fridge. Get a free $5 gift card when you spend $15 on your go-tos, like Pepsi Soda or Gatorade. Or saving big, like up to 10% off big, when you use Cartwheel in the Target app on your favorite essential and beauty items. Find deals in-store like Tide Laundry Detergent or Tresemme Hair Care. Get low prices on thousands of items today and every day. Target run and done. Restrictions may apply.
Pop quiz. What's the most important part of a ship? Don't answer. It's the crow's nest. Know why? Complete visibility. I can see what's on the horizon and my crew pulling the ship together on the deck below. That's how I run this ship, and that's why we use Grainger. Grainger helps us keep a clear eye on our inventory, saving us time, saving us money, and helping keep everything ship shape. It's always smooth sailing with Grainger. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage, $75 per month level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At TermBusters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-800-569-5440. That's 1-800-569-5440. You're probably paying more than you should. Call TermBusters, 1-800-569-5440, or visit our website at termbusters.net. Remember, 1-800-569-5440. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Febreze Car presents When Stinks Interrupt.
Thanks for the ride, sis.
No problem. Good flight?
Yeah, Oh.
Chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets.
Did you stop?
Chicken.
For fast food?
Nuggets.
Not today. Why?
Oh, chicken nuggets.
Pro tip, sis. Pick up Febreze Car, then pick up your brother.
Febreze Car has 2 new ways to drive away embarrassing odors. Now available without heavy perfumes or with extra bold scent.
Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Yes, it's about that time. Let's do it up. I imagine they're getting a lot of calls right about now. My friends at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning. Maybe less so about air conditioning currently. Let's cue it up.
It's time for Who's Hot?
It's so damn hot.
Who's Cold?
Looks like she's going to turn cold tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Got a front coming in.
Yeah, you got that right.
Who's Hot? Who's Cold? Brought to you by our friends at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning. Good folks, fine folks, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday, helping you out. Give them a ring, 850-580-4029. I've used their services for many years now, and I have the Total Comfort Service plan, I might add. Very affordable, and they'll work things out for you. They'll come out there on the weekend to help you out. You want to get this thing. You get the, what do you get, the 2 28-point inspections, no overtime charges. So no matter what, you call and you say, listen, I got a problem here. I know it's Saturday night at 10 p.m. I need you to get out here. They will. I got you covered.
That is useful.
Yeah. So, and you save on all kinds of money, man. 15% off the duct cleaning and all that good stuff. I know service agreements are boring to read. I'm just giving you some of the highlights. Just some of the highlighghts. All right, here we go. Who's hot? Who's cold? Let's start with the NHL, Boston Bruins. In their last 14 games, Boston has a record of 10-0-4. My brother in New Hampshire will note that as a huge Bruins fan. Capturing 24 of a possible 28 points. Damn you. Slow your roll, Boston. We don't need all that.
No, they're on a tear since a lot longer than that.
Crazy. Boston has scored 3 or more goals in 11 of those games, by the way. Scored 5 or more goals 6 times. They started slowly this year. They looked average, 6-7-4 in their first 17. But since November the 16th, the Bruins have a 19-3-4 record, getting 42 of a possible 52 points, which is absurd. I know that I'm speaking to precious few out there who have any clue that the Boston Bruins are playing a fine brand of hockey right now, but the NHL's heating up. We're in a good place right now.
Yes, it is. Well, and next week, in fact, is the All-Star game down in Tampa. So there you go.
Yeah. Celebration. Hot. We'll stay with hot. Alshon Jeffrey versus Minnesota. Shocking that this would come up. As a member of the Chicago Bears, Alshon Jeffrey faced off against the Minnesota Vikings 12 times. In those 12 games, Jeffrey accounted for 45 receptions, 685 yards, and 7 touchdowns while averaging over 15 yards per reception. He's want to do that.
Yeah, and he played on some bad Bears teams in those circumstances.
He did. Jeffrey's best career performance was in 2013 against the Vikings when he caught 12 balls for 249 yards and 2 TDs. So obviously Philadelphia is going to need Alshon Jeffries to bail out Nick Foles.
Oh, that's like a third of his production in one outing. Take away that outlier, and he does nothing. There you go.
I don't know about nothing.
Skol Vikings.
Cold. The Cleveland Cavaliers are a mess. Since their Christmas Day loss to the Golden State Warriors, the Cavs have lost 8 of their last 10 games and have now lost 4 in a row. Cavs are currently the number 3 seed in the East, are just 4.5 games ahead of the number 9 seed, and are 7.5 games back of the East-leading Celtics. Cavs defense, ranked 29th in the league, has yielded an average of 120 points over the last 5 games. They've been trying to integrate Isaiah Thomas, one of the worst defensive guards in the NBA, and that hasn't helped, certainly. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson combined for 40 points when guarded by Thomas on Tuesday night. Cleveland's offense hasn't been much better, though. Through December 21st, the Cavs were 24-9, had an offensive rating of 111.9 points per 100 possessions. That was good for the 3rd best in the league at the time. Since then, their offensive rating is 103.3. That's ranked 24th in the league, between the Phoenix Suns and the New York Knicks.
It was interesting. I was looking at the standings today as, the NBA is starting to somewhat get meaningful in the next 6 weeks.
On your radar?
Yeah, just on my radar. And there are a couple of surprise things when you look at the standings. First of all, the East if you're just looking at teams that have a 400 winning percentage or better, right? So you're not asking for much here.
No.
The East has 2 fewer bad teams than the West does. How about that?
There was a time where that certainly wasn't close to being the truth or case.
If you're 500 in the East right now, you're not in the playoffs. Philadelphia is 520-20, and they're the 9 seed currently. The East, you used to be able to win 45% of your games and get the 7 seed.
Yeah, easily.
And surprise teams, I just, again, looking at the standings, the Heat are 26-18. You know, they got Whiteside, and I don't know that you can name anybody else on their team. And then the T-Wolves are 29-17.
Players. I mean, we knew they would be pretty good at some point. They got players.
Yeah, but they're 29-17. Yeah. They're in the 4 seed in the West.
They're kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
All right. Cold. FSU 3-point shooting, but then again, you guys knew that. In their first 2 games of conference play, which was a 100-93 loss at the hands of Duke on the road in Cameron, and an 81-80 win, I should say, over North Carolina here, the Noles shot a robust 26 of 61. That's right around 43% from three-point range. In the 4 games following the victory over North Carolina, the Noles have shot 27.3%, and it looks like this, 29 of 106. And that is good for a 1-3 record during that time. So suffice to say, you have to shoot better than that.
Yeah, that feels that way, too, when you look at the disparity from three-point
Without
land.
question, it feels that way. It's very frustrating.
We came into ACC play feeling good about our three-point shooting. You know, obviously,
as we should have.
Yes, in some big games in the early portion of the season, we said, oh, well, look, they got shooters left and right. Even that was the
barrage against Duke.
That was the talk. Well, yeah, and that's some of the ACC breakdown. But we entered conference play saying, well, we've been hitting our threes, and we continue to do so in the first 2 games. But that was even the talk of the open practice in the early season for the basketball team.
They have some guys that can shoot, man.
They can shoot. Well, okay.
But they've gone missing.
That's wonderful if they can in theory.
Well, no, but they did it in practice. We saw it. It happened. And I don't mean in practice. I mean in games. I mean, they did it.
Correct.
They executed it. It happened. So the fact that it's vanished for now is not only disconcerting, but it's also tough to put a finger on. I mean, some of it has been trying to, I guess, again, incorporate Koumadje back into the offense, which has at times made it look a little convoluted. But you got to find a way to do that. You got to utilize that asset. You can't not play him. When to play him, how to play him, all of that is what they've been trying to figure out, I think, and it's been somewhat problematic. And then the other part of the problem is that when they've begun to miss shots, they haven't defended, period. So you can't do that. I mean, you're going to have to play defense. You know, I bring it up all the time. But I thought one of the great signs early in the year was, of course, the road win against Florida on their court. Not a game that you won, a game you dominated. You were infinitely superior to Florida in their gym, and really it was a mismatch, oddly enough. But in that game, one of the reasons you were able to create such domination in the second half was what you endured in the first half, which was the inability to hit the broadside of a barn and yet getting stops on the defensive end, possession after possession after possession, giving you a chance to fight your way out of the funk, make shots, get a lead, keep your defensive intensity, and pull away. But in games in the ACC in particular, when they haven't made shots, they've begun not to defend.
Well, and look at their three-point shooters, too. You know, when we started ACC play, I said, man, I don't know that you want to count on Kofor this much. And the good thing was that he was playing so consistently that we were starting to rewrite the book about who Phil Kofor is.
Sure.
Now we've reverted back to, well, you can't rely on him. You just can't. You can't.
When
count
he keeps
on him.
taking shots is the problem.
Yes, and you can't rely on him to go out for 18 to 20 points a night. Maybe he catches fire again, and we say, well, he had that blip in the radar. But at this moment, that's how it is. Angola, I trust to get on a roll every once in a while. You know, I think he can consistently, hit some looks, especially open ones from 3. MJ Walker has regressed, and PJ Savoy has not developed.
Well, he got hurt too, so now you got issues there.
Yeah, but what I'm talking, I mean, and he had a couple of shots before he got hurt.
Starting to find his legs.
But how many times you can hit him in the non-conference season when you're winning by 30, but then you come into a meaningful game. You know, ever since the opening stretch to ACC play last year where the league adjusted and said, oh, well, okay, there's their shooter, stop the shooter, and we're A-okay here. Man, we walked into the season saying you're going to be able to get outside looks from this player, that player, this player, that player. C.J. Walker's streaky. MJ Walker is hitting some sort of freshman lull right now. It did happen to Isaac where, once the competition stepped up, he realized my old tricks aren't always going to work. People do homework on me, and they're big and strong enough to do something about it. But when you look at what we were as a three-point shooting team for a little while there, and you look at what we are now, as painful as the Koumadje transition is, I think you have to find your baskets inside, around the basket. I don't know that you can count on a resurgence from our perimeter shooting as much as we want to do that.
Unless it's the last minute of a game and you're down 10 and Angola has the ball. Then everything goes.
Yeah,
sure. He's a guy that I think can arrive at that place where he believes he can carry you and actually does at times. I would like that to be more consistent. I need guys to finish around the rim. This 5 days off has to be the saving grace. Get your legs back.
Well, he's the one player that if you were looking, it's Devin Booker from a few years ago. He said, well, I trust him from the perimeter.
Take that shot. I need MJ Walker to find a shot again, too.
Yes. No, it's – I didn't think we were counting on him a lot, but now that Kofor is kind of, falling off a little bit.
He can shoot. He can really shoot, but he's a freshman.
Yes. His body language has looked a little bit
Well, I think he's gotten discouraged. I think he's gotten very discouraged and frustrated, and this is the stuff that you go through when you're reliant on a freshman to carry any portion of your offensive burden. So, yeah, I think that's a bit of a problem. But here's the deal. We have a tendency to do this. We go all in, and both for the good and the bad. When it's good, man, these guys can really shoot. Love the way they play in transition. They're going to cruise to 23 wins. We're making the tournament. When it goes south and you're 1-3 in your last 4, you're playing poor, they can't hit the broadside of the barn. They're not defending. They look lost in transition. Not sure they're going to be able to get it together and win enough games to make the tournament. Well, let's let it play out. That's a tough run, tough stretch of 5 games there, and you needed to get your legs. Let's see. Now, I will tell you, if you don't go 2-1 in your next 3, you're dead. There's your panic button.
Ooh.
2-1 in your next 3.
How does that feel?
Now, let me say this. You might, in the next 3, begin the stretch that you must go 2-1 in by going 0-1 because you're on the road where ACC wins are hard to come by. And I know you've been rested, but Virginia Tech, that's not an easy win. We know this. You could go and lose that game, and I guarantee you the Bridge Jumpers are coming out in full force at that point. As long as you win the next 2 games against Georgia Tech and Miami afterwards, here, okay, then you're 4-5 in conference. Nothing is effed here, man. Let's just slow our roll. I'd love for you to win that first one. I'd like to give yourself some margin for error, but here's the deal. Over the next 3, if they don't go 2-1, I'll join you in mashing the red panic button. All right, there you go. The next 3, got to go 2-1.
Try that. Excuse me. I was going to say try that on for size.
Yeah, wear
almost
that one
died.
a little bit. Yeah, make you a little nervous when you go out to the games, especially if we lose this next one. You're going to be going to that home game going, God almighty, this is it. This is the whole thing. They got to win this.
My eyes watered. I almost choked.
You got choked up a little bit. It's tough. It's tough to think about a season that lacks significance. We're not there yet. You don't have to mash just yet. You can see the button from where we're sitting. You just don't have to press on it yet. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
When you're in need of auto repair, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service
live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast, brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer, 574-4100, and presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia, and Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Start your new year off right with all the DeWalt deals at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. The store that brought you your build-your-own kit is taking it to the next level. Buy any, and we mean any, DeWalt Bear tool and receive a free, on-the-spot, 4-amp-hour lithium battery. No mail-ins, no gimmicks, on the spot. Also, check out DeWalt's Impact Hammer Drill Kit and get a free tool promotion exclusively at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. Cornerstone Tool & Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. 2 locations to choose from, 1110 Stuckey Avenue and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon.
Might I suggest the chicken taco salad from Banditos Burritos, my friend.
I have known for some time now that some insurance companies are not exactly being truthful with their customers, stating such things as if you do not use one of their approved body shops, they will not guarantee the repairs, or it may cost you more out of pocket. Here at Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, the work we do is guaranteed for as long as you own your vehicle. Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, 385-2665.
License number MV46050.
Pop quiz. What's the most important part of a ship? Don't answer. It's the crow's nest. Know why? Complete visibility. I can see what's on the horizon and my crew pulling the ship together on the deck below. That's how I run this ship, and that's why we use Grainger. Grainger helps us keep a clear eye on our inventory, saving us time, saving us money, and helping keep everything ship shape. It's always smooth sailing with Grainger. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Once again, all of you with stellar credit ratings, congratulations. And this message is not for you. All year I've been talking about our New For You program to assist good people with things in their credit. And just last week, a friend of mine came into my office worried about his own credit rating. But thanks to our New For You program, you guessed it, he drove away in a brand new Nissan Altima. We are proud of the fact that we have helped hundreds of people that were previously limited shopping little used car lots where they overpaid, got huge finance charges, and had very few choices on cars to purchase. Some of those lots may actually hurt your credit more than they could ever help. So remember, credit score under 600? Come on in. Recent bankruptcy? Come on in. Recently divorced? Come on in. Think you have a financial problem we've never heard of? Come on in to Kraft Nissan. And come see the one dealer in Tallahassee that can really help you out. Come see the cars that everyone wants at the hottest dealer in town, Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco, or visit us on the web at craftnissan.com.
Jackson Hewitt has big news. The no-fee refund advance just got bigger. Now you could get up to $3,200 today. Go to Jackson Hewitt and you could get up to $3,200 with a bigger-than-ever no-fee refund advance 0% APR loan. Don't delay. Go to Jackson Hewitt today and you could get up to $3,200. Optional tax refund loan provided by Medevac, not the actual tax refund. You can e-file without applying. Fees for other optional products may apply. Availability and loan amount subject to conditions and locations. Bigger is a comparison to the maximum loan amounts previously available for the refund advance at Jackson Hewitt. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. We may or may not learn more about Tom Brady's right hand injury when the Patriots quarterback meets the media later today. Brady was on the field for at least the start of practice today after reportedly jamming his right hand when he collided with a teammate on Wednesday. In a Michigan courtroom, the victim impact statements continue for a third day in the sentencing hearing for former Team USA gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar. He has pleaded guilty to 10 counts of criminal sexual assault. Nassar wrote a 6-page letter to the judge saying he was concerned about his mental health, having to listen to his victims in the courtroom. At the sweltering Australian Open today, 2014 champ Stan Wawrinka and the reigning Wimbledon champ Garbiñe Muguruza are both knocked out in the second round. Tomorrow's temperatures in Melbourne could hit 108 degrees. Our live coverage resumes at 11 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. College basketball tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN. Number 13 Gonzaga hosting St. Mary.
To win in basketball, you got to play great coverage. And with Straight Talk Wireless, you know you're getting great coverage because they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming, free always. We're on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. Thank you so much for watching the program. Type in ESPN Tallahassee, and you too can watch it on YouTube. That sounded good. I like that one. I should do that more. Email the show if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameronShow. WTSM app for your mobile devices, and is it holding up? How's the Periscope going?
Hey, the Periscope is
okay.
Yeah.
You know, that's something I couldn't do. Let me tell you right now, no way would I have ever gone on a sub. I'd have not been part of that. Not doing it. Like, if you're thinking of branches of service and things you could and couldn't handle, just intellectually, like mentally, you could or could not handle, being in a sub's not one of them. I couldn't do it.
One of my best friends growing up, Richard Crowther, worked on subs.
Not me.
Yeah.
Nope. More fearful, having to engage in some form of combat in the air or under the sea. That's a tough one, right? Because we're talking about your demise now. We're not talking about winning.
Yeah.
We're talking about if you lose.
No, it's the sea, easily. Easily.
Yeah, because you're going to probably drown. And you're all bottled up.
Right. Yes, there's the compression. You got time to think about it.
You know, scenes in movies that are tough for me, there's always, for some people, they can handle forms of violence or depictions of certain ways to go easier than others. So, you know, if it's from afar and something blows up, you're like, oh, whatever. But when you see people trapped and they're going to drown, it's always tough on me.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. But I know for you it's knife. But I'm saying, yeah, that's a toughie for you.
Oh.
But these things occur in movies, and they happen in life, too. And so when you think of, and I don't want to get all morbid, but we were just talking about periscopes, and I was just thinking, you know, I couldn't be in a sub. I could not be in a sub.
Well, think about that apartment in Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, no, stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Stop. That's awful.
Oh.
No, but there's a lot of things awful with that. And I don't want to talk about it anymore because it's already irking me a little bit.
You have not seen Dunkirk yet?
I know there's a scene he can't get to.
But he may or may not get out. Well, I'm not going to spoil it for people.
Right, that's fine. I will see it this weekend, I think. But I'm saying, here's what I am saying.
In the air, man, especially nowadays, you're so high up that the pressure is such that you're done. The temperature and the pressure, lights out.
Do you know there's a guy, and then I'll get to the sports. There's a guy that died, and he was jumping out of airplanes, and he was an instructor. And you might think, well, that happens all the time. People's chutes don't open. It's the chance you take when you're jumping out of planes. But he would have his students or the people that were, you know, obviously paying to go up and jump out of planes. And they do those tandem rides, I guess, in the beginning. I don't know. I'm never going to do it, so we don't have to worry about it. But and I know the people that do it are going to be the first to email me and say, it's the greatest thing in the world. You'll find freedoms you didn't know existed and all that stuff. Not going to happen. The time has come and passed. If I was going to do it, it would have been before I had kids. Now, won't happen. So, that's fine. I can go to my death knowing that I did not jump out of a plane and did not experience that. I'll be all right. But what happens is when you first do that,
perhaps before you die, the technology will be perfect that you could jump out of a plane and you'll be okay.
100% guaranteed I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, or when you're 80-something, maybe you just
then
do
don't
it.
Care. Well, remember when George Bush Sr. did it? Like at 97 years old, his old ass, whatever he is.
I forgot about that, yeah.
He jumped out of the plane. But he used to do that. I mean, he had but yeah, at that age, you might say, screw it, I'm in. What do I care?
Yeah. You can't reach your derriere.
It's even a glorious way to go out if you do go out in that way. You're like, you know, he died jumping out of a plane. Good for him. The dude was 96.
Hands to yourself, HW. Hands to yourself.
He's old, man. That's a weird deal. Anyhow, here's the thing, though. Having said that, I forgot about that, too.
That's a recent development,
I know. So here's what I'll tell you. This guy, I don't remember his name, but you can find this. It's out there. I've seen it. So the thing was, he would have one of his coworkers, for lack of a better term, another jumper, film these people's tandem jumps. And he also would, I think, have a camera sometimes. But he would do like 5 and 6 in a day. And my man jumped out of the plane having forgotten to put on the parachute for his final time. He forgot to put it on.
Well, yes, that would be his final time, yes.
But I'm saying it was the end of the day, a long day.
It was the last one of the day.
It was the last one of the day. This was a teaching moment.
It was that too.
For lack of a better term, it was a moment to learn from that they tell you not to do that. Don't up the ante like that. But my man, with his cohort, he jumped out of the plane and realized about halfway down, right around the time that you would reach for the cord, I don't have a chute on. Now, that's 100% certainty that these are the last of your moments.
And it was filming a tandem, right? So he couldn't have, done some sort of Mission Impossible thing where he latches onto his friend. Probably too heavy.
No, I don't. I think that's in the movies.
Yeah.
I don't know that but whatever it was, my man knew he was dead. He knew it was over. He's just floating. And you watch the last minute or so of his life. He knows.
Wait, it's on film?
Yes.
Oh, well, now why does that get published?
It's not. You don't see him hit the ground.
Still.
You don't see him hit the ground. It's like these spelunking people that go into the caves or whatever it is, and they too are filming what they're doing. And all of a sudden they get delirious. They don't have enough oxygen. They screwed it up. They didn't do the math right. And they find themselves just wandering around the cave, and all you see is their hands in front of them. And they're that's it. They know. And they're just reaching because they see things that aren't there. That's all on tape too. That's a toughie. You're like, well, that guy, that's it. And you know it. You know it in the moment. I don't want to know it. I don't want to know it. Whatever it is, I don't want to know it. Get hit by a Mack truck, never saw it coming? Okay. All right. It's over just like that.
It depends on the knowing, what the circumstances of the knowing.
Oh,
again,
well, yeah,
like you're talking about under the water or in the sky. At least in my man's circumstances without the parachute, that ain't going to hurt. You're all good. You're all good. You're going to be here and then you're not.
Yeah, but what if you didn't?
You're going to be in several places.
But if you had no plans on checking out, you got a lot of time to think about the dumbass way in which you just died.
Yeah.
Well, this is certainly silly.
Well, that's not productive at that point. It's already over.
Be like, what in the world? I forgot to put on the chute. Now, it's still better than the dude who drowned in manure on his farm, and it was like 1 inch of manure. He got stuck in his tractor, and he couldn't get it flipped back over.
What?
Yeah, the guy drowned in the manure.
You are an encyclopedia of this stuff.
I kind of am. I read that story. I thought that was the funniest thing ever. Maybe not for them, but
where were we? Or maybe it was headlines. Yeah, it was headlines. I felt like we were talking. See, that's how good headlines is. You feel like you're in the middle of the discussion.
Thank you.
But Ira or Corey pointed out another, death, and you're like, oh no, I know that. Oh, it was the How I Shouldn't Be Alive.
Oh, that's a good show. I used to love that show. Yeah.
But he brought up an obscure reference,
and I knew it,
and you knew it, and you finished the circumstances,
the guy
the context.
Got his arm pinned under a rock.
Yeah, but there was another one.
Well, there's several. I've seen every one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
They're awesome.
You've seen every single one.
Well, the guy that got ripped up by the crocodile and survived. That's my favorite one. And let me tell you why that's my favorite one. This guy is on a boat. I don't know what he was doing, but he's, this happens a lot. Hippos kill a lot of people.
Oh, hippos are
steady killing people.
No, man. Cartoons say they're lazy and chill.
No, hippos are coming for your ass. They're not having it. They'll kill you. And they're aggressive and angry.
They are hungry.
And hippos kill a lot of people every year. And so if you're out there in a place where hippos are, and in this case, he was in Africa, and this hippo charged his boat and threw him into the water and destroyed his boat, and he was still alive. So now this is terrifying because you're in the water with a hippo who wants to kill you, but also that is crocodile-infested waters.
Yeah.
And he had to make a go of it to try to get to shore.
Oh.
Yeah, can you imagine that? So he gets to the shore.
What an unreasonable circumstance to be in.
I wouldn't be in that set of circumstances, but he was. And my man, he was swimming. He got to the shore, and the way he described it, this was remarkable, was that he was exhausted. The adrenaline had gotten to him. And so he gets to the shore, and he's sitting there, and he's trying to get his breath, and he's trying to also gather himself and figure out his surroundings. His boat's destroyed. He's got to figure out what danger is upon him, and that includes hippos and whatever else. He takes a turn to his right, and he's face to face with a croc who's at eye level with him, floating over to take a gander. Imagine that moment where you are face-to-face with a croc. He just hasn't latched on yet, and it's not like you can make a sudden movement. You're done.
No, it's a croc, too.
And they're mean. Yes. So he gets his arm up in time. Croc latches on. It's the death twirl. It's on right now. You're done deal. Just under the water, and he's holding on. Here's a that's his arm. Saves his life. Arm gets ripped off. He crawls ashore. Now, at this point, I'm thinking I'm still screwed because the other crocs are coming.
Yeah.
I'm bleeding out. This is going to be terrible. But no, he got far enough away. He leaned up against a tree, and he passed out. Just passed out.
Probably the best thing that could have happened to him.
Right. Now, you would think he'd be dead, but he doesn't die. He wakes up to shooting pain, and when he does, it's early evening. He's still alive. He looks down. Giant ants are feasting on his open.
Dude, what are we doing here? This is your favorite. This is your favorite story.
That's my favorite story.
Oh.
He's got those giant ants going to war on him. And now, so think about this guy's plight.
Why does that bother me the most?
He's been thrown from a boat by a hippo. He had to swim frantically to shore, but before getting there exhausted, he turns to face a crocodile who rips his arm off. He drags himself to shore and leans against a tree, prepared to die, passes out, only to wake while being feasted upon by giant African ants.
Ugh.
And he survived that too. And so
he should be
people
dead.
Are resilient.
Well,
you think he tells that story as a part?
And lucky at times. How many people have gone missing? You don't hear their story and something similar happens.
No, like nobody would ever know.
Right.
Yeah, and think that guy survived all of that and is around to tell that story, and it's my favorite.
He shook off the ants, and then a hunter killed him.
Mistaking him for an antelope.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, but I just think that's still one of by far my favorite.
Is there an animal in popular culture more mischaracterized than a hippopotamus? It would be like a three-toed sloth being active and cheetah-like.
Mean. Maybe the panda bear. Pandas are mean.
But like a manatee is what people think of a hippo. A manatee is docile. It's like, oh.
And they are. You can pet them. I've petted manatees, yeah.
You're not supposed to really touch them.
But you can. They're friendly as can be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what people think
they
hippos
are. What you think they are, yeah.
Yeah, they're just, going to eat and...
I don't know. The panda and the koala, I think the koalas might mess you up.
Oh, really?
I don't think you can go up and
koalas are nasty?
Yeah. I don't think you can go up and love on a koala. I think they'll take you down.
Like, again, animals, kangaroo is rightly characterized as being annoying and aggressive.
Well, they'll punch you.
Right.
And they look like they lift weights.
That's why they always have the boxing gloves.
It's funnier
and the
than
Looney
hell,
Tunes.
right, yeah. And they'll kick the hell out of you, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, they'll kick you. Yeah.
Yeah. Horses will bite you when you walk past their stall if they're angry. That's that's hurtful.
Ooh, that'll be a chunk.
I've seen somebody get bit by a horse. The funniest thing I've ever seen. I was at a dude ranch. Her name was Beth. I'm still laughing about it to this day.
She was a chick on a dude ranch.
She was on a dude ranch. We were on a dude ranch in Leesburg, I think, and she got bit by a horse as we were walking past the stall. Beth, I didn't care for Beth. It was funnier than hell.
That horse was like, you.
He's like, get you some right on the left shoulder. Oh, and the wincing in pain. You've seen a horse's teeth.
Yeah. I mean, we did play Florida once a year the last few years. Absolutely.
Oh, well played. But that's like 32 years ago that I saw this, and occasionally driving down the road, I laugh at Beth getting bitten by the horse on the dude ranch. Like all these years, I will.
But she wasn't messing with the horse or even interacting with the horse. She's just walking by, and the horse is like, hey.
Yeah, got her as we were walking by. It could have been me, could have been anybody, but it was Beth. And it was funnier than hell. And she got so angry at me laughing and others who shared a similar sense of humor.
How did you know her? When was this again?
It was school. We were in school together.
School.
Yeah, we were in school. We had gone on a field trip to a dude ranch, and she got bit by this horse. And I remember when we got back on the bus, it was hotter than Hades. We got back on the bus, and as we were driving, I couldn't stop laughing, picturing that horse biting Beth. And she was getting angrier and angrier, and she was in tears, and people were telling me to stop laughing. And we'd go a couple miles, and I'd just picture that horse going, ah.
How big were the bandages? I mean, good Lord.
I don't remember seeing any bandages. They just... She
patched her up?
She wasn't gushing or anything. I think it was a surface wound, but it just pinched extreme. Oh. It's still fantastic. All right, I got sports to talk about. I promise it'll happen next. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Tea time on Friday, January 19th is 11 a.m. with 10 a.m. registration at the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Individual golfers can sign up for $50 and foursomes for $200, with the event including contests, raffles, and prizes. This year's proceeds will benefit the Big Bend Community-Based Care, who specialize in helping local area foster teens. Support this worthy cause while hitting the links with us. The second annual Corner Pocket Winter Classic, Friday, January 19th, 11 a.m. at the Golf Club at Summerbrook. Sign up the day of the event or early by emailing cornerpocketevents@gmail.com. That's cornerpocketevents@gmail.com.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Febreze Car presents When Stinks Interrupt.
Thanks for the ride, sis.
No problem. Good flight?
Yeah, Oh.
Chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets.
Did you stop?
Chicken.
For fast food?
Nuggets.
Not today. Why?
Oh, chicken nuggets.
Pro tip, sis. Pick up Febreze Car, then pick up your brother.
Febreze Car has 2 new ways to drive away embarrassing odors. Now available without heavy perfumes or with extra bold scent.
Breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
If you're a small business, first impressions can make all the difference. With Grasshopper, you get all the features of a professional business phone system on your mobile phone. Choose a business phone number, make calls, and send texts. Stay connected and work from anywhere with features like Wi-Fi calling and our desktop app. Set up your account in minutes with no long-term contracts and 24/7 customer support. Make your small business big. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. That's grasshopper.com/radio.
Pop quiz. What's the most important part of a ship? Don't answer. It's the crow's nest. Know why? Complete visibility. I can see what's on the horizon and my crew pulling the ship together on the deck below. That's how I run this ship, and that's why we use Grainger. Grainger helps us keep a clear eye on our inventory, saving us time, saving us money, and helping keep everything ship shape. It's always smooth sailing with Grainger. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Enjoy Bud Light with your friends in the Pit of Misery. Enter to win 4 tickets to a FSU basketball game for you and your friends. Enjoy complimentary Bud Lights and cheer on the Seminoles from the Pit of Misery. Visit Facebook.com/Tri-Eagle Sales to enter to win. The winner will receive 4 tickets to a FSU basketball game, complimentary Bud Lights, and a Dilly Dilly prize pack. 3 winners will be chosen. Who would you take to the Pit of Misery? Dilly Dilly! Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Well, Kuiper's at it again, so why don't we do this? I've teased it for 2 hours and 20 minutes or thereabouts. It is that time of year again where the mock drafts come fast and furious.
A draft analyst for ESPN dropped him on a make-believe website page.
That's going to be the measurables that ultimately determine where Manziel goes in May. Right now, he does not belong in the top 25. If he beats Alabama again, everybody's going to say, oh, boy, move him up. No.
Your number 1. Who does Houston take?
I'm going to go with Johnny Manziel. He's going in the top 5 somewhere. Hey, what's wrong with number 1? Johnny Manziel is a magician on the field. If he eats, sleeps, and drinks football 365 days a year, to me, he can be a very good to great player in the NFL.
Draft analysis.
1.0 is out, kids, and we got a juicy nugget from our friend Mel Kiper, who today said stats are for losers. Went on to talk about Josh Rosen winning games. I believe he went with the dreaded quarterback win-loss stat that doesn't exist.
Right, and that's a stat though. And I think it was about Josh Allen of Wyoming because his completion percentage was.
I said Rosen, didn't I?
His completion percentage is not that great last year. He's hitting the 50s and the low 60s.
Certainly, statistical measures are one of many means by which you evaluate players, not the only, that you can use whatever stats you'd like. And we all understand how to manipulate those to our benefit in an argument or otherwise. But to just dismiss them as non-reflective of performance in any capacity and cite the old wins and losses in the ultimate team game is stupid. But we're off to a swimming start from my man in mock draft season. Love mock draft season. Come on, baby. He came out swinging today for losers. Unless that stat is one that helps make your argument. We'll see if we can get, you know what we did with that montage is one of my favorites. It's some of the listeners' favorites because in a very short period of time, you're able to hear during the same build-up to a draft the same player analyzed by Mel Kiper move from not a first-round pick, shouldn't be considered one, to why not make him number 1?
Right. I will not move him up if he beats Alabama. No.
Why not, Johnny Manziel? I wonder if anybody ever brought to his attention our montage. That would be the ultimate compliment. Like, Mel, have you heard what these guys are doing to goof on you? Or if he's just aware of it and doesn't care, because I think you have to have a level of not care in that job because it can be a really, really difficult task. I mean, you can't possibly know each of those players and have strong opinions about them in the way that they're utilized. I mean, the way that they bring those guys on to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 different, mocks in the build-up, you're going to overlook some things. It's impossible.
Well, there's also the fact that, you're trying to project what teams are going to do, and I thought Mel hit on something that he should really just stick to, period. This is what I think the teams are going to do. Now, if you want to look at the big board, I can show you who I think the best players are. But this is what I'm hearing that the teams right now, this is who they're considering, and here's who they're considering. For Cleveland example, they got 2 picks in the first 4. So here's who I think they're going to take at 1, and here's who I think they're going to take at 4. Because if you look at the weather circumstances in Cleveland and his skill set at Wyoming,
why it would work or not work, yeah.
Stick to that rather than stats are for losers.
Yeah, that's not a good
idea. Because that
idea.
means you're personally defending the decision to put Josh Allen there, and it's not about what you think the Browns are going to do.
Of course not. And he's learned that lesson before and used it against people who do that very thing. And so, yes, it would be much easier, too, to fall back on certain franchises have a history of making absolute buffoonish picks. Cleveland, and we could go on down the list of others that you think, what in the world are you doing given what you need, who's available, etc. Now, etc. We know, by the way, that it's not a surefire thing. If it were, then nobody would whiff. Nobody would get it wrong. Nobody would evaluate him properly. All of these guys paid handsomely to sit down, watch the tape, see every play in a college kid's career, oftentimes get it wrong. That's the beauty of this. We all can have an opinion. We can all tell you why we think it will or will not work out, as long as you're fully allowing for the fact that you could be wrong, because it happens all the time in the league. Now, what you try to do, especially if you're going to passionately argue, as we did back in the time that Winston was going to come out and we knew he was going to win the Heisman, and we said that probably third, fourth game of the year, and then from there said he'll also be the first pick in the draft. Stop listening to these idiots tell you that a guy who's never been charged with a crime is going to fall. That's what the reason for that montage was, is you take what succeeds in the NFL and the skill sets of the players and base it upon precedent and history and say, well, this usually translates. Not always, but usually does. But the things you can't know is, how does money affect a guy? Well, they have psychological tests for that. They try to figure that out as best they can, but you can't fully know. And you also can never project, where if a guy goes to a team, and we've seen this time and again, and that's usually the one where I shake my head, where his skill set isn't suited for the system they run, well, he's buried. You don't hear from him again, and he's deemed a bust. Sometimes guys also don't translate. They fall between the cracks. There are guys who are really good AAA players in baseball. They go to the majors, and they can't make it. The subtle and slight differences between a major league fastball and a stud at AAA level is enough to overwhelm their bat speeds just a tick off, and they never make it.
I was listening again to this interview this morning on Golic and Wingo, and Golic had a good question for Mel. He said, I look at the completion percentage and I say, man, my own alma mater, Deshaun Kaiser was thought to be, at least in the upper end of what he can do, the throws he can make, the strength in his arm. He could be a game breaker at the next level, but I look at that and I say, this is a very similar situation where he's not that accurate, and that's played out so far. Now, Kaiser's only in his first year, so who knows if he's going to, progress at all.
The Kaiser situation is that he's got unbelievable arm strength.
Correct.
But he's got a lot of things to work on
so
otherwise.
So he's likening one to the other. He says, so why is this different here? And Mel really doesn't have a good answer.
Other than he wants him to be.
Especially to make a splash with Mock Draft 1.0.
Number one, right, exactly.
The best answer he had was he had a bit of a shoulder injury that he came back from, played well against Central Michigan in the bowl game, and he's going to play in the Senior Bowl, which means a lot, that he's going to play in the Senior Bowl, I guess. But my guess is that Josh Allen is going to be, by the time we get to Mock Draft 4.0, outside of the top 10. What do you think?
I think I'd take Josh Rosen, first of all, of the quarterbacks that we're talking about. That's where I'm going to start. He's good. He's smart. He's brash. I think he translates. I'm not so sure about Sam Darnold at USC. I think I'd like to have Bradley Chubb in Tampa, so I'm not as focused on quarterbacks as I normally would be. Yeah. I think
I'm just talking about where this thing's going to roller coaster. So let's mark it down. Allen's number one right now.
Oh, well, he's number one on Mel's board, right?
Correct. Yeah. Correct. No, he's not. I saw the CBS one today. I did some looking around the Pro Football Focus. Nah, man, he's going to fall out of the top 10 at least once between now and the end of 7.2 or whatever it's going to be on draft eve.
Yeah, and I'm not in, I think a fun question for us here locally, a kid we watched every second, every down, we know a lot about. I've had a chance to interview him multiple times. Derwin James, not a quarterback, not somebody that will I guess, collect the polarizing arguments at the key position of quarterback, but a kid that I think even amongst Florida State fans would be polarizing to talk about.
Yeah.
Where is he in your mind? Is he a safety, and a dominant one at that, underutilized and properly utilized here at Florida State? Or is he something else, which we've talked a lot about hybrids, and Jalen Ramsey can do so many different things, obviously. We thought that Jalen's game translated big time to the league and what they're asking of people now. But Derwin, you have legit questions about.
Yeah, I think Derwin is more, and we'll see, because you know what? Let me start this way. The hard part about Derwin
is that he's going to kick ass at the combine.
Yes, so there's going to be that element to mock drafts, but we're not talking about that, right? We're talking about will he succeed and what is he?
Mm-hmm.
I think we all operate with the understanding as Florida State fans that our game-breaking players were not put in a position to succeed this past year or to be highlighted. You know, Derwin James was not the centerpiece of our defense the way we thought he was going to be, the way the nation thought he was going to be in the preseason. He's the #1 player in America, according to Sports Illustrated, in the preseason. There was that, every year there's talk about some non-traditional position being a Heisman candidate. That was the talk with Derwin around the country. Not on this show. You put that to bed quickly here, but that's where people thought he would be. So given that that's the hype, that he absolutely is a blue chipper who's a freak and going to be athletically as gifted as any player at that position who's going to come out to the draft in some time, that's one camp. The other camp is, well, is he the type of player who is an athlete first and a football player second, or was he not put in a position to succeed with Charles Kelly as his defensive coordinator? I think that's the hard part here is, or to be featured. Maybe that's the better word, to be featured. Do we really know what he is based upon what our defensive schemes were the last year?
Well, what I would tell you is that I think if you're looking at a guy in run support, he's exceptional. You'd love him there. You don't love him in coverage. So 2 things you're going to look at right off the bat with him. You don't love him in coverage. You do love him in run support. Then you would talk about things like his instincts. You would talk about his ball skills. You would talk about these things, and that's where the debate is.
But what I mean by what I'm saying is, if he goes to the league and he balls, we're going to say, man, we didn't develop him here as well as we should have. The question is, how much was he developed while he was here at Florida State? Because, there were times where it looked like he could cover, then there were other times where it looked like he's completely overmatched in coverage. So what is he? Is he going to be a linebacker type who triggers downhill that plays the strong side as some sort of combo slot defender? Is he going to be an over-the-top safety who roams the middle of the field?
So you're saying we think down the line he could be a Cam Chancellor.
Well, what I'm physically he's gifted in that way.
Oh, without
right?
question, he's a freak, and that's why he's going in the first round. And
I guess
B,
what I'm saying is he could be a point of frustration, and I think many Noles fans can see this. He could be a point of frustration 2 or 3 years down the line that he's dominant at the NFL level, and we go, well, why didn't we use him in a way that sees him dictate what offenses do and scheme around? Because that wasn't the case here. Pro Football Focus has him graded as one of the highest safeties, if not the highest, I forget what it was, in the country in college football this past year. Didn't feel like it watching week to week, did it?
Well, he was emblematic of the frustrations of Florida State fans everywhere to begin with. I mean, and that's not his fault per se, but he really was. Yeah, we expected a monster season from him in which we utilized his skills at a level to where he was every week a highlight reel waiting to happen.
All over the field.
Everybody, you'd look up and go, man, there is that guy again. And that wasn't the case. And that frustrates people to no end. And we'll find out real soon whether or not that was scheme. When I think of guys that I feel are safer bets, you think of Minkah Fitzpatrick, right?
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, could he be the product of the greatest development in the world and what he is now is what he's going to be, which could still be an every week player, but not a game breaker. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that to be true. All I'm saying, what I'm telling you is that coming out of Alabama, that he is as polished of a machine as he possibly can be. Coming out of Florida State, the way our fan base feels about it.
There's a lot of upsides.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know.
Growth. Yeah. It'll be interesting.
I don't know how good he can be. What I believe him to be right now is a slot defender who can do a little bit of covering, a little bit of rushing the passer, and helping you
stop the run big time. Big time. And he loves football, and he's got room to grow in that body. And I have a feeling that when somebody gets their hands on him and his only job is to become a better football player and to get stronger, you're going to see a guy that is more versatile than he showed here and is more productive than he was here.
Well, then he's a top 10 pick.
Well, because I think he's a top 15 pick for sure.
Ask the people. Yes, and it might not be because of need, but in terms of talent, it's just if you listen to the people around the program preseason, it was about his IQ, his football IQ too. It wasn't just about he's a freak and he makes a play every day that you go, well, nobody else can do that. That's just Derwin being Derwin. It was, man, there were times in the past where he might have pulled aside a couple of defensive coaches and said, why are we doing this? This does not make sense in a football situation to make this call defensively.
Yeah, he challenged coaches. He was frustrated by what was happening. I still always lean towards he is a freak of nature. I mean, first and foremost, I looked at him and just thought, who has that? Who looks like that? Who runs like that at that size? Who is that? His hands are strong. His tackling ability, obviously, he's a bit ferocious, right?
Yeah.
These are things that all translate immediately. Then you see the athleticism and you say, okay, well, somebody's going to take that guy and properly utilize him in a scheme because they've got a freak that they can put in certain places and they know we can count on this working. And any sure thing coming into the draft, that certainly that helps GMs rest easy, right? I got that guy who I know, at least in this way, we can utilize him. Now, maybe if he shows this over here, then great, he's more than we realize, but at least I got this. He fits that role.
Even though Charles is already gone, I still fear the notion that comes out during, the combines and then private workouts where, a scout or two might say, I don't know what the hell they were doing at Florida State, but this kid can cover. He was never developed to cover, and so he might be adequate in coverage, but that's more than enough given the rest of his skill set that if we leave him back there, you're going to have more attention paid on him, and so we can backside dial up a couple of things over here.
I hope I'm wrong, by the way, but I think he'll never be more than adequate in coverage.
Fair. We were talking about that.
Yeah. I don't think he'll ever be more than adequate in coverage, which might be all right. But
it was the concern coming into his sophomore season, right? And then he had the pick against Ole Miss, and it was like, well, maybe he can cover because it looked like he ran the route for the receiver, and you were thinking, whoa, this is interesting.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think he's Jalen Ramsey in that he's a Swiss Army knife. No. But he could be a really, really good slot defender who is not necessarily just a linebacker. That's the other thing, too, is that you hear like a strong side player who comes up near the line of scrimmage. He might be able to cover better than that and follow a running back or a tight end into coverage. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, that's where that athleticism comes into play.
That's quite valuable.
Very valuable in the league, right? By the way, this weekend there was the talk, and I'm sure they won't single-handedly throw Jalen Ramsey on Gronk, but the talk that he was going to match up with Gronk. Well, the problem with Gronk is that nobody can match up with Gronk. And Jalen Ramsey's as physical and nasty as they come. He has the attitude, the physicality. But again, that is a mismatch. No matter how good Jalen Ramsey is, that is a mismatch. You almost rather have Telvin Smith at 220 pounds, at 6'3", running with the 6'6", 270-pound Gronk. Because Jalen is a special player and can do a lot of things that maybe 6'1", 208 doesn't suggest he can. But, man, that is a mismatch if they plan on single-handedly matching that up like that. I don't think that's going to work.
No, well, it's pick your poison, right? Because then you have Cooks on the outside, and somebody's got to cover him. So you're going to put Bouye.
I'll take chances. Bouye will cover him.
Okay, then you got Amendola in the slot, so who's going to cover Amendola?
Well, we'll figure it out. Maybe Jalen.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking, you probably put 21 on the outside with Cooks, Jalen in the slot on Amendola,
right. Yes.
And then physical at the line of scrimmage,
right?
And then Telvin Jackson safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give me a linebacker who can really run. Jacksonville has a rare breed at linebacker, two different guys that are smallish but can fly, and at their size love to hit you. So I'm going with that.
I know Telvin could run stride for stride with him. Jack's ability in coverage, I haven't watched enough Jacksonville.
He's fast,
to say.
I mean, he's
a combine freak, but coverage is, again, we're talking about with Derwin, it's a different animal.
Telvin will run with him. But that's still advantage Patriots.
Yeah,
Gronk is Gronk.
Gronk is he's an all-timer.
Gronk. When he's relatively healthy, there have been very few people to do anything with him.
If Chubb is off the board and Key is off the board at 7,
I'm going to cry.
Well, okay, it might happen. Mel Kiper said that Chubb's going third to the Colts.
Yes. So you're going to tell me
if Derwin's on the board and your two best pass rushers are gone, and the Bucks take Derwin, your reaction is disappointment?
Man, with what we need, it's disappointment.
Yeah.
That's not where I'm going here. I love Derwin, and I think he'll be a fine NFL football player. But, man, I don't know. For what the Bucks need, I'm not going down that road, buddy. I don't want him. No.
I'd agree. I'd be interested to see if scouts / draft experts, quote unquote, say he's going to be a center fielder at the next level, because that would be a fascinating read.
Well, if somehow it got flipped around and Arden Key's probably still going to be there, right?
Well, there are concerns off the field, so he might very well be.
What kind of concerns?
Oh, I can talk about it in the break. I don't want to say.
Okay, character concerns.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, that's
you don't want to just put it out there with
without
it's
proof.
A rumor. Yes.
Concerns about him had to do, and there were people who were evaluating him saying that off-the-field concerns are significant enough to have an impact on Key's draft stock. He took a leave of absence at one point from the LSU program in relation to off-the-field concerns.
Correct.
Again, that's very vague.
And the rumors around Baton Rouge are, it's not something you want to just put out there, right?
All right,
in
so
the post-Winston world.
Yeah, well, we learned, right? I mean, and they even did this with Dalvin coming into the draft last year, where we had the off-the-field entourage has us very concerned. And we were like, well, listen, I understand early in his time here, he certainly was no saint, and I'm not going to say he never took a misstep, but
those conversations were funky. The phone calls that came in and the questions about Dalvin that were very specific.
Very specific and interesting phone calls, and just strange to you just don't know who guys are hanging out with, and I think that scares people to death. I understand it, but I don't know enough about Arden Key's background to say anything.
But would it shock you with Derwin that if 5 years from now he's a dominant type player? Cam Chancellor's a once-in-a-lifetime type player too.
No, it wouldn't shock me.
And we go, really?
No, well, I'm prepared. I've already mentally prepared myself to be pissed. No, it wouldn't shock me. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
Roberts Elementary School is proud to host the 9th annual Trent Trot in honor of Trent McElroy, a Roberts 4th grader who lost his battle to childhood cancer in 2013. All proceeds from the race go to the Trent's Touch Foundation, which support local families battling pediatric cancer. This race is a longtime community favorite and is being held at Roberts Elementary School on January 27, 2018. You can register online, go to Facebook, type in 2018 Trent Trot, support this race, and help a local child leave cancer in the dust.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
When you own your own restaurant, you have to do it all. Say your chef's out sick, you have to cook. If your busboy's a no-show, you have to clear tables. I even print my own dinner specials every day. You know, in all my spare time.
Right now at Staples, get up to $120 off select HP OfficeJet Pro printers as HP celebrates 30 years of helping small businesses succeed.
Thanks to Staples, now I have time to scrub my stock pots. So glamorous.
Staples. Saving money equals saving sanity. Ends 1/2018. See store or staples.com for details. Restrictions may apply.
Xfinity delivers the fastest internet, the most Wi-Fi coverage throughout your home, and the most Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. Only from Xfinity. Call, click, or visit an Xfinity store today to experience all Xfinity has to offer.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events, and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
For 45 years, Andrews has been serving up memories in the heart of Tallahassee. Today, Andrews is better than ever with an all-new look, Tallahassee's original Sunday brunch, and a new outdoor pergola. Make memories at Andrews better than ever.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4-DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
We'll have some content for you tomorrow. It won't be live, but it will be pertinent. We're involved in a charity tournament tomorrow, and that's a good thing. But it is requiring us to be away from the office, and so we're going to come in tomorrow morning, put some stuff together. We'll give you that in the afternoon. Better than nothing, but I wanted to give you a warning that it would not be live from 3 to 6 tomorrow. They'll make it. It's all right.
No, there's nothing breaking tomorrow, I don't think.
It
wouldn't be good news.
Recruiting, buddy. No, we're out recruiting. We're doing things.
No, we don't usually break the recruit stuff until it's signing day anyway.
You know what I like? I like that people now are inquiring about Big Daddy J and the Red Russians on a daily basis. These are my fellow degenerates, no doubt. Sporting guys and gals, as I like to call them. And they're wanting to know if Big Daddy J is looking at the over tonight with the Lightning in Vegas, or is it going to be the under? And I said, well, Big Daddy J has not properly checked out the NHL lines this evening, and I need to get on that, by the way. I know I need to I like to confer with Big Daddy J's partner, T. Lizzie, about what we're looking at here and talk about who's riding a hot streak and who's not.
Well, I would say the context of this Vegas and Lightning matchup tonight is an interesting one. Either Vegas is about to hit a slump, or they're going to come back with a vengeance because they got shut out by the Predators this week in the worst way possible. They lost a game 1-0 to Nashville. So anytime you get shut out, you want to come back with a multi-goal performance, but 1-0 losses are particularly stinging.
You know what I saw tonight, by the way, which is so seldomly looked at in the realm of the NHL. If you're learning about over-unders for the NHL, and I like to go all in on either all overs or all unders when I have my random fun Big Daddy J moments. I've told you before that typically speaking, those over-under games are 5.5 or 6. You sometimes see a 5. And you very rarely, but sometimes see a 6.5. We got one tonight, Tom. Bruins, Islanders, 6.5.
Yeah, and the reason they're doing that is because Boston is on
red
the
hot?
second. Well, but they're on the second of a back-to-back. So you might get a bit of a lackluster defensive effort out of Boston, and the Islanders can score. I mean, good Lord. If they do one thing well, they score goals.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So that might be an overplay. I saw the Lightning game is at 6.
It is at 6.
6 even.
6 even. I'm going under.
Okay.
But I'm wrestling with it. May not touch it. There are 6, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 5.5, 6.5, 5.5. All big numbers. So maybe the play for Big Daddy J, folks, that's the way we look at it if we want to imbibe on the Red Russians, is to take the nightly total of goals and go under with that as opposed to individual games. So as we engage our degenerate side, that number for tonight, 57.5 goals in the NHL. May take the under on 57.5 goals.
Okay. The argument I would make for the over in the Lightning Vegas game is the first part of it was obviously they got shut out earlier this week. The second part is Tampa's offense should come to play for a couple of reasons. One, this is a revenge game. The way they lost to Vegas earlier this season was stinging. Usually one out of 82 you don't get mad about, but they lost this game in regulation in the final 10 seconds on a bad call. And they've talked about it at least twice. They printed in the papers since then about how much it makes them angry. So I think, well, they did it with the Islanders, where the Islanders beat them, and then they come back another week later and they play the Islanders, and they absolutely smoke New York. They score 5 or 6 goals. So when they're mad, they tend to play well. The other thing is that Tampa Bay's best defenseman, Victor Hedman, who's one of the best 3-4 defensemen in all of hockey, he's out for the next 3 to 5 weeks. So there you go. There are 3 reasons to play the over, which most assuredly guarantees a 2-1 regulation final.
6.5 for that other game is amazing to me, though. You just so rarely see 6.5. And maybe, just look at the big scope, look at the big picture, and go, we're going under. 57.5 goals tonight in the NHL.
Okay, so
that's where I'm going.
Get your calculators out, people, and see if the Red Russians will be had.
That's going to be a lot of fun, right? It's going to be, we'll know. I'm going to go under total goals NHL tonight. Big Daddy J laying it on the line.
So the Red Russian won't be had until tomorrow.
That's right.
They're a West Coast slate,
late night slate here. I'll sit down, see how my night's going. Maybe I'll place an order to go with Louise, and then be on my way.
Hey, Big Daddy.
Hey, Louise. Yes is the answer to that Red Russian. And by the way, can we get to flipping that TV with the quickness?
Oh, is that Big Daddy over there?
That is Big Daddy.
I got the remote, buddy.
Good to see you, Steve.
There it is.
All right.
NHL Network, 477.
Beautiful thing. How's the family?
Oh, it's fine. You don't care. I'm going back to cook.
That's Big Daddy J in a nutshell.
Yeah, they know.
We got
they know
this,
the drill.
Right? Yeah.
That is a courtesy question, an empty question.
I am in my corner.
You're not listening.
I care. It's out on the periphery, but I care. If something were to go wrong, Big Daddy might donate, help out a little bit.
Big Daddy would listen at that point.
Big Daddy would listen at that point. That's the kind of caring that goes on. It's surface level on a nightly basis, but deep down, I care.
Now, tonight's underplay. If I win it, it all goes to you, my man.
That's right. So be watching these games with me. Well, when I'm lonely, I'll lean into a cook or a waiter or waitress and say, listen, we got 2 games left tonight. I should have left an hour ago, but I got a hall pass.
Yep.
You want to sit and watch these games with me? Because if we can get the under on these 2, I'll give it all to you.
Well, Big Daddy, that's providence right there, because I do happen to have a 12-pack of Coca-Cola at room temperature ready to go.
And I see the bottle of vodka. Mm-hmm. Good job, Reggie.
Also unchilled.
Let's make it happen.
No ice, right, Big Daddy?
Red Russians for the two of us as we root for the under. Game's starting. They're dropping the puck. Come on. Get your cleanup done. That's how it's going to work.
Oh, I can roll silverware over here, Big Daddy.
There we go. All right. Come on. I'll pour one. You get to the silverware. And then we're hanging out. Next thing you know, we're at first intermission of a 0-0 game, high-fiving. Good work out of you, T-Lang or Lizzie. Good work as always, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great night, and we will talk to you tomorrow.